And shouts to everyone. Shouts to everyone who's logged in and logged on. We will be jumping into that very meaty topic a bit later of single fathers is your fault. But
yes, let's go.
What we should be telling them is to share the live. Obviously,
indeed,
share the live to 2 or 3 or 15 or as many people as you can, just to get more interaction on the actual Instagram live. Obviously, people on YouTube who are tuning in, big up your status. I can't remember what the YouTube thing is. I should know it. It's not professional, isn't it?
The eMpTy podcast. make sure you are watching the eMpTy podcast. Catch us each and every Thursday right here. Well, not each and every Thursday. I almost put the lives wrong there. Catch us on the lives when we're here. Is a lot to be discussed, and today's topic is going to be...
No, don't. I wouldn't even say that.
It's going to be a big one.
Oh, it's going to be a big one, right? I think what we should do, let's not do the how's your week been kind of thing, but... Like, there's been a lot happening in the week.
How has the week been?
The week,
not our week. Yes.
How has the week been?
Yes.
Did anybody see that story about Tiffany Haddish? So did anyone see it?
No.
So she has got about 7.2 million followers, or maybe it's that's a big difference, or maybe 4.2 million followers. She is deciding to find out what's happening in between Israel and Palestine.
Oh, wow.
So she's got on a plane, first class, may I add, to Tel Aviv.
Wow.
And she's saying, I'm going over there. She's sipping champagne on the thing. Immediately, she lost 15,000 followers. But she can't see nothing wrong with what she's done. Is there anything wrong with what she's done?
Yes. Education.
Yeah. You know what it is? You see, you have to be very, very mindful of dealing with things that are highly politicized like that. I'm very mindful because there's so much. It's not just about the situation as it is right now. It's the situation previous. It's the situation of the history of it. And then for you as a comedian to jump in and not have educated yourself on the situation, that for me, I would, for example, for a start, I wouldn't be surprised if she lost a lot of people following her because she went straight to Tel Aviv rather than going and speaking to maybe the Palestinians. Because if you've got two sides of a story, by going to one side of it, the other side are automatically going to take umbrage with it. So.
But then you can't. That means you can't go nowhere. Then.
No, you can do. But what you can do,
how?
What I think, and without having known what's taking place and what she did directly, other than what you just said, what I think would have been wiser for her to do would have been to have educate herself by speaking to people from both of the parties,
nations,
and then having an informed decision of, you know what, let me go to Israel or let me go to Palestine or let me go and find out from people in that area. By just saying I'm going to jump on a plane and take myself up there and find out.
She's gone Tel Aviv.
You can't go to Israel and go, or even go to Gaza and say I'm going to go there and find out. Why didn't you do your information gathering before you left? That sounds like a comedy sketch, and she's a comedian.
Well, but maybe that's why people have started not to follow or have unfollowed her. Remember, 15,000 people. A lot of people, you know.
Sorry, I agree with Mr. Boom or Mr. Wileycat. Sorry, but to me, it goes deeper than that. It's almost like you're making a mockery of people's
the whole thing.
Yeah, this is real life.
It's real life. People are dying.
People are dying on this, and I'm going to do this because to me, there's nothing good that's going to come out of it.
No.
Right.
Even if your followers that didn't know too much about it, who weren't interested, are not going to now be interested because you went there.
Yeah.
There might be.
Nah, bro. This is people's lives. If you're not compassionate enough to look into something like that on your own, because a comedian's going there is not going to make you say, oh, wow, all of a sudden now I need to look into it.
It may be, though. If you're a fan of a person and you follow everything they do, then when they do something, you might keen interest.
But your
might
moral
garner your
compass is, well, like I said, my slogans, I'm a little bit broken, but I can't see how your moral compass can be okay with people are dying over there. Enough people are dying over there on a daily basis. Women and children, families are being broken apart and everything. I'm not actually going to pay any attention to that. However, Rain's busting joke, and Rain says, you know what? I'm going to go down there, and I don't even know what I'm going to go and do down there. I'm just going to go down there. Well, and all of a sudden, I'm going to be like, yeah, let me look at and see why these people are dying like.
Again, it's literally the video, and you'll see if you follow her, it'll be on some social media channels. She's on the plane, she's drinking champagne, and she's saying, yeah, I'm going to Tel Aviv, y'all.
to
blah,
me, the
blah,
mockery
blah, blah, blah.
is the fact that she's gone first class, she's busting up the champagne, posing off.
So what class is she going?
Yeah, that to me don't mean nothing.
No, right. What I'm trying to say is, showing the bossiness and the is not necessary. It's over the top to me.
Yeah.
That's
But
what I mean.
that's a standard of.
Yeah,
for me,
I understand there's a standard.
That's
but,
a standard.
But to be, as I said, the champagne popping, that's not required. If you're gonna video yourself and say this, that, and the other, say it. But to pose off that you're got this big nice champagne and you got your little pinky finger sticking out and all that, it's wild.
But let me show you that. Sorry, Mr. Wileycat. If that's your lifestyle, yeah, and you do this as a daily thing, I would be more offended if you then try to downclass it. Yeah, I'm flying economy, and what are you trying to mock me? Like, I don't know that this is. It's like when. Hold on a second. It's like when. What's that idiot's name that went to go and fill up with his car? Went to go and try and fill up with petrol, like to say.
Oh, Rishi Sunak.
Why are you trying to mock us?
Yeah, but
Rain. He doesn't know. He didn't know where the petrol tank was.
Yeah, but
So you went out of your way to make yourself look like you're me. You might as well put blackface on.
raw. That's a thing.
That's
No, but to me, that's what you're
That's
doing.
a
You're
pass,
mocking.
bruv.
You're mocking me.
Just to add a bit of context, apparently, shouts out to Shez Bubble, she says that Tiffany Haddish is Jewish, which is why she went to Tel Aviv.
Wow. Thank you for the education.
So
Sit there.
that may add a bit more context. For me personally, though, I still don't think it's wise for someone who. Do you know what it is? Oh, okay. I flip the coin the other way around, and I say DJ Khaled, who is of Palestinian heritage, hasn't said a word
Not done a
about
shit.
the whole thing. Not a word. Not a word. So the question then becomes, okay, if Tiffany Haddish can go and try and go over there and do something like that, why can't he, with his global following or his reach, be able to do the same? Maybe he's fearful of losing that following. Like what happened to
I
Tiffany.
know.
Or maybe he's fair for losing his life.
I know what it is, but I can't say because I don't want to get our thing shut down. I don't want to get Myriad Studios lock off, plug. You know what I mean?
Light
So-
just turn off.
I'm seeing. So I'm not even going to get into that. But just the next. I got one more.
Go ahead.
Actually, I got two, but I'm going to do what? Actually,
Wait, let me do one.
do them.
Let me do one.
Go on.
So I'm not as prepared and pulling that phone like Mr. Rain over there. But did you not see a video? It was on Instagram of a mother dragging her youth in a school in America, and she took her belt out like it was Granddad in, I don't know, a Western film, drapesing him up, grabbing him, scaring the living daylights out of this kid because he was disrespectful to his teacher. And the two teachers, who are white, by the way, are standing there with their arms crossed, watching this black mum terrorize, abuse her son.
Firstly, do you mean the video that was posted on the MT podcast Instagram earlier on today?
Well, I'm glad you're right. Well done, Rain. Well done. See how we bring it around?
Yeah, exactly.
Go on.
I did see it. Initially, I saw it and I was thinking, oh, can we post this? Or what is the point of posting it? And then I kind of thought, right, okay, let me do it and put that little caption in there. It's funny to see the responses. Like there were some people that were saying, yes, like certain times, if kids are misbehaving, they need to. I can't remember the exact wording, but it's like, rah, you have to parent, and if that's the way you need to parent in regards to fear, beating, blah blah blah, that's one thing. There's other people that were saying, this is abuse, this is child abuse.
Yeah.
There's people that are thinking, rah,
Mum should get arrested.
in an English school. I'm saying in English school because it was in America. In an English school, could that beating have happened?
Hell no.
The kids would have probably rushed her.
And I think there's a number of different issues that with that. I would assume we all went through some form of discipline from our parents. Even if we'd have gotten a beating or a smack or whatever you want to call it.
I never got beaten, you know.
You know, I remember you
We can tell.
No.
We can tell.
That's why I said I believe most of us would have. Because I remember Rain saying before, all he ever got was the verbal. You never got anything of that. He just got spoken to. But
You know
for
he's incomplete though. Because he never got beat as a youth. He's incomplete.
If people are saying, because you got beaten as you lot are just bad.
No,
like,
no,
you weren't
Rain.
listening.
Rain.
Your parents came to a juncture where it was just like, the only thing I can do is physically hurt this picnic to stop them from doing the madness that they're doing. So I'm going to give them a couple clarts. I'm going to give them, go and get, anyway, wait.
It's a rite of passage.
Digressing a little bit.
Wait. Let me tell you why.
Go on.
It's a rite of passage because you have to get beaten and then bar. And then get beaten again and then bar. And then get beaten the third time and then firm it.
Did any of your
Wait,
parents...
Don't cry. Just give me the licks. I'll hold the licks.
No, if you don't cry, you're going to get more licks.
It don't matter. It don't matter. I can firm it now.
Did any of your parents say, go and get this thing, that's twice, go and get your thing to beat
Apologies.
so I can beat you with?
Yeah.
Yes.
Psychological warfare. Yeah, psychological warfare.
Idiots.
Right, let me ask you.
Never got beat.
Let me ask you a question, yeah? And I'll ask this because everyone in this room being parents, would you beat your children in the same way you got beaten?
Hell no.
No.
I can't answer.
Hell no.
And the reason why you wouldn't do it is because...
The reason why I wouldn't do it is because when I got beat out of anger.
Okay. Tongo, what would be your reason?
Because I don't feel that my discipline will get that out of hand that I need to go to that resort.
And then you end up with rain.
So you never got beaten?
Yeah, that's not what you asked me. No, I did get beaten, but I wouldn't do it because I feel that my discipline to my child would never get out of hand enough that I'd need to resort to that.
Because the reason I'm asking, I think that we seem to forget our parents typically were the first or second generation to come here. So however they were parented by their parents, if their parents were given discipline like that, they also would have passed it on to the children. And you know what? It's only when I was at an event a while ago, and this I thought actually resonated and made sense, which is when you think back to it, if you think back how many generations ago was slavery, that's how slaves were disciplined, innit?
Mm-hmm.
And that would have then passed down from the slaves down to whoever, to when the freedom came,
Mm-hmm.
and the parents would have known that for disciplining people, that would have been what they would have passed down to disciplining their own children.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting take on it. But that video for me doesn't give any form of excuse or reasoning why that mother should be doing that to a child. And it brought the question for me, if you're doing that in the school, in front of the teachers, what are you doing inside the house when no one's watching?
I think she did that because everybody was watching. I think for her, psychologically, she thought, but that by doing this, it's making a president to show that I'm a good parent. Because it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense why you would degrade your child in that manner in front of everybody, and why you would make your child feel that way.
And it was the language too, you know?
Parents do it all the time, though.
Sorry?
It was the language as well.
In the new social media world that we live in, parents do it all the time. Look at the time when there was giving children the granddad bald haircut.
Yes.
And
Yes,
all
for
these
real,
other kind of
for real,
embarrassing
for real,
things
for real.
on social media as discipline for the children.
I don't know why you'd want to humiliate your own child just to say you're disciplining your child. It doesn't make sense to me.
No, they've done it. Partly is to say, well, if you think you're this bad, now go around looking embarrassed, feeling whatever, and that should maybe shame you into behaviour.
But then that's not punishment. That's shaming you. There's two different things there. If I'm trying to punish you,
It's teaching you a lesson.
that's not teaching me a lesson. That's making me hate you.
It might make you hate you, but it still teaches you a lesson at the same time.
That results in, I hate him, I hate my mom. Oh,
Yeah, but you know you did that already.
That's what it results in.
Yeah, maybe. But it also makes you think that.
And the thing is-
but it also makes you think that I ain't doing that again because I don't want to have a granddad bald haircut. Or get licks in front of my teachers or whatever.
Or the other thing is, it's only a granddad haircut. I can deal with that. Like, many of you that maybe got beaten was like, the beatings don't even really hurt. Like, at the moment, it's a bit, it shocks and it's a bit embarrassing, but who cares? I can go and do what I was doing before and still do it again. And many of you did, because you never got beat once.
You know what? You're right. Because if I knew I was going to get
So it
beat,
doesn't work.
and I was,
don't-
let's say for example, I went out to play, and I knew that 6 o'clock was my curfew, and if I came back after 6, I'd get beat.
Yeah.
Once 6 o'clock bus, I'm gonna get beat anyway, so I might as well stay till 9 o'clock.
I'll stay until 9.
9.
Blood.
Gonna get hits in the
Blood.
I'm gonna get licks anyway.
For real.
No. You're not lying. Welcome to the party. But
You don't have a dog in this fight, brother. You don't have. We all know that special lady.
You lot are lying.
Can I just, before you comment?
He said 6 o'clock.
Wait.
You're going to turn up at 9.
Yep. Yeah.
The only reason I said that is because
Maybe 6:30.
when you listen back to the podcast and you hear my reaction to what he said, I was like,
And he never got beatings.
welcome, buddy. Welcome, Citrus.
Yeah, morning, lads.
Just a quick question, and this is probably something that should be taken offline, but I'm going to do it online. Because obviously, just due to the time of arrival, are those 2 bottles constituting as the thing?
Do you know what? All right, so if you want to bring it to the lives and the rest of it.
I respect you for responding.
Hello and apologies for being late and ruining some people's people's entertainment for the evening. However, I'll take this on the chin.
Okay,
it
fine.
was my
No other
fault.
choice.
All right, I'd left my phone at Citrus's house.
Okay.
So I had to go and retrieve my phone because it has all my business and all my work on there. So I needed my phone. So I'll take full responsibility for it, and I'll say apologies to everybody else.
So you respect your phone more than us. But anyway, let's carry on.
I will do that after. Anyway, right,
No
okay.
problem.
I don't think we've got time to do more of the week. I think we should potentially
let's just
chip straight in. Are you actually ready? Because I can fill for another one.
Right, you got more.
I've got loads.
We came prepared, bro.
I'll do it quickly. I'll do it quickly. Bob Marley film released last week. Has anyone seen it?
I ain't seen
Not
it.
yet.
No.
Has anyone heard about the reviews and the passive
Yes.
coming?
Mix up.
Citrus, what's your thought? What have you heard?
So I've heard that some people are annoyed that it's not Jamaican actors.
Right.
Sorry, let me rephrase. Not actors from Jamaica. It's English actors
Yep.
who may have Caribbean/Jamaican heritage.
Right.
Which is slightly different. Controversially, I don't have a problem with that.
Me neither.
Never do I.
But this is what I've heard.
Right. Just to jump in, just to say, I haven't got an issue with it. And what it is, I look at it from a point of view of, and it was in one of the groups that I'm in, or maybe in a few groups, and I stopped talking. Actually, it was in our main group, and then it was in another group where they just talked bare foolishness. And I made a point, and no one could answer the question. So I said, right, you've got this is a Hollywood blockbuster or something, or whatever you want to call it. What Jamaican actors would you put in there to try and garner interest from the general public? Or tell me 5 Jamaican actors that are on that stage. The only one that someone mentioned was the woman that used to be in what was her name? I think she was in Desmond's or something.
The one who acted Shirley.
No, not Shirley. No. Anyway, one of them. Anyway, so basically, there's no Jamaican actors. So, as a point of view, from a business point of view, and what the Marleys wanted to do, the Marleys said these are the people that I want to watch. It wasn't that right. A director from Hollywood said I want these people. They said they wanted them people because they know there needs to be an element of appeal. Like the man who plays Bob Marley, he's been in numerous films and he was a bad guy in one of the Marvel films, so he's recognisable.
I mean, as much as your point stands, at what point does it make any difference? I mean, there's so many things that are covered by other actors in America. We've got American Hollywood films that are like American Gangster. So many other ones that are covered by English people.
Yeah, black
White people that are black characters and all this stuff.
It doesn't matter. It's never been a thing about it. It's about telling the story, innit?
Right.
If you're going to tell my story and someone say, oh, I'm going to play Buddy and it's going to be some some Indian brother that's decided he's going to do it.
Spot on, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's going to be Kabaddi.
I'll go watch it.
I'm not gonna sit there and be like, rah, why is it not a West Indian guy that's born in England that's doing the role? It doesn't make no difference who it is that's doing it. You're telling the story, and the story gets told, and that's the main thing.
So what I think a lot of people have a problem with, and what I've read from, I personally don't care, but what I've gathered from the comments and stuff that I've read is that it's not necessarily about the fact that they're not Jamaican. It's more the fact that the opportunity was taken away from upcoming actors from Jamaica that could have played that role.
No, but you can't. You can't.
You want the best person for the role,
No,
regardless
you
where
want
they're
people
from.
that are going to bring you in money. Shouts out to Nick, just come back from Trinidad. Auntie Susu, yes, exactly. That was who I was thinking about. But you can't, from a business point of view, you can't. That's like saying Liverpool are going to take someone that plays in Division 3 to be their main striker. It's not going to happen.
I mean,
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I'll tell you what I did hear. The feedback I haven't seen the film, and I don't know his story to be able to say if this is true or not. But I heard that there wasn't a true life representation of how he lived as a freedom fighter or how he lived as a with his various other wives or anything. There's a focus on, I think, one wife, but not on the others. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but
I mean,
for anyone who's seen it, do you know his story? And
ultimately, the film could have been 10 hours long.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If the way I see it, if his family have co-signed it off,
Then there's nothing more to
who
say.
is
innit?
anyone else to talk about it?
Simple.
His children have. So, therefore, I have to accept whatever they say and whatever they believe. However, time is ticking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
That's
it's
a nice
of-
way to wrap up. That was really
And
good.
it's of the essence.
and it's of the essence. So I don't know if we've done the welcoming.
We've done that.
We've done everything.
Just
Done
know that,
everything,
yo,
'cause we was
the
late.
truth. None of that.
We've done none of that yet. Yeah? We ain't done that yet.
We ain't done it. 'Cause you're
Alright,
finished.
alright.
How can we do it if you're ahead?
Alright, so I'll kick it off now. That's fine. Welcome to the MT podcast.
Bloops.
It's myself, Buddy in the building, aka The Truth. And to my left, we have.
Yaga, yaga, yo, yaga, yo, yaga, yo. It's Citrus in the house. And we're running the show.
And to his left, we have.
Man like Tongo, you done know.
And across the room on the other left, we have.
Rain_Nelson_445.
Alright, we're
God, no,
just do it. Just do it.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. My mum told me off.
Ah, is it?
No, I'm joking.
Lying on his mum. Never got beat.
You know what I mean? This is why you never got licked. And to his left, we have.
Mr. Wileycat DJ, aka the voice of reason.
And to his left, we have.
Sorelli, ever so slightly broken.
Wow. Full house today. You know, you mentioned things about fathers and all the rest of it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all of a sudden, everybody turns up, says, "Yo, look, I got a dog in this fight. I wanna say my piece." It feels like. So today we're gonna talk about fathers. Is it our fault? I believe it is the big question, and what we mean by that is it our fault within the homes when we have issues, or I'm trying to refrain from saying it, but I'm going to end up saying it anyway. People come from broken homes, and it's like they've got a father over there, single parents, and we've now got to make the home work. So are they now looking after their child? Are they able to maintain a relationship with their child, or even maintain a relationship with the woman, the mother of their child? So are they able to maintain all of these relationships, or is it now just a total breakdown, and what happens from there? I know we had one very similar, one of our podcasts we've had before, where it says, single mothers, is it your fault?
Yes.
So we've now given it to the fathers now. Is it now our fault? So one of the first questions that I wanted to ask to kick us off, very late again, apologies. But yeah, to kick us off is, what do you guys think makes a good father? And I'll start with Citrus, as he's to the left, and we'll work our way around.
Okay. Someone who is present even when they're not present.
Okay, I like that. Tongo.
Someone who's involved.
Sounds kind of like present, not present. Okay. Said okay twice as well.
He reworded it. What's wrong with you?
All right.
Simplify.
Someone that is responsible.
Responsible.
Yes. Does what he's supposed to do, when he's supposed to do it. Advises where he needs advice, supports the mother where it needs to, so on and so forth. Responsible.
So support. Are we going with support?
Call it support if you want, but I said responsible.
All right, we're going to go with responsible, because that's what you said. Rain Man.
For me, it's someone that can teach or can educate, can guide, and it's like simple things of how to tie a tie, how to tie your shoelaces. I know anyone can do that, but to your question, a father should be doing that kind of stuff. There should be, you know what it is. Actually, I'll say it for later, but yeah, someone that can educate, someone that can guide.
So teachers.
Yeah,
I like that. Wiley.
Fathers, I would expect them to be selfless, which would be you basically carry everybody on your back, your children, your partner, everyone on your back, and that's just the roles that fathers, I believe, have. So selfless.
Selfless. Sorry.
A father is somebody someone you can depend on, someone who's always there for you, someone who can prepare you for a life of independence, even when they're not around.
So what we gonna put that under? Just so I can have a
Echo 2.
Bro,
But to say, you know, onto me.
Amazon Echo 2.
That's it, you know, onto me, but
I just did the same thing, bro.
Yeah, that's definitely not echo. But like I said,
put it under.
I said prepare another person
Teachings.
for life.
So
And it's not just teaching, it's also loving, preparing that person. So giving them everything they need to support them with.
all right, I'll tell you what I put down. All right, and I spoke to a few people just to try and get a response back from not just myself and not just the team that's in here. This is also from women that I've spoken to, just to get a list together. So I had affection, financial support, playing with the child, so speaking with the child, supporting child's ventures, teaching manners, challenging child in correct way, role models. So those were some of the responses that I got, all different from the echoes. But yeah, so basically the follow-on question to that would be, what makes a bad father?
The opposite to what we said.
Without-
No,
yeah,
Nah,
let's
so-
go on,
no,
just go we'll start
for
with
the
your
purpose of
side
the
so there's no
debate.
echo.
Selfishness.
Selfishness. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna write that down.
Not being present. I think the most important thing a father would be is present. So not being present. Anything where you're not present in your child's life, that epitomizes probably what a bad father would be.
Okay. Rainman.
I think it's not contributing to that child's life. Like kids need stuff, and not being able to give it. And it might not be financially. It might just be and maybe I'm saying the same point, but backwards. Like emotional support, teaching, education, right from wrong, that kind of stuff. If you're not able to do that, you are a bad parent. Father, sorry.
Okay. So I want to frame it as well, though, because I'm just trying to look what we're going to put that under. So far I've written down, Sorelli said selfishness.
Yep.
Wiley said not being present.
Not contributing. Contributing could be financially, emotionally.
So financial, no financial contribution.
Or contribute. Yeah,
Go on, that's good. Tongo.
unsupportive of the mother and combative, like overly competitive.
Okay, explain.
Arguing for arguing's sake, things like a sample that was used in our group today. If you're not dropping him, I'm not. He's not coming. He's not staying with me this weekend. Then things like that, just being difficult, just for being difficult's sake.
So we're saying arguing.
No, not necessarily arguing, because sometimes you may need to argue for the relevant point. But being difficult, being purposefully kind of spiteful. Kind of.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at
And
spiteful.
also not backing mum when she needs backing. Like, for example, say the mum calls you support because the child's misbehaving.
Lack of support then.
I did say unsupportive. That's the first thing I said.
Yeah, cool. Lack of support. That's cool. I'm just writing these down. Citrus.
Broken promises.
Okay.
That's one that I experienced.
Yeah.
And that one, it cut deep with me, so I can appreciate anyone that didn't grow up with their father, even like if their father may not have been around, but was accessible, and then made a promise and it didn't happen. I think the one thing that I remember is you said you're going to be here on this day at this time, and I was ready from, you said it, counting down the days, times, hours, weeks, whatever it is, and then it not happening with whatever excuse, that broken promise. Then after that, I don't want to hear nothing from you. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was bad parenting
From your side.
in my experience.
Okay. So I mean, again, same type of thing I did with the good fathers, I did with the bad fathers, and I suppose this is going to get enough traction from everyone. So there was absence, which was one of them, financial support, irresponsible behaviour, not leading a good example, swearing, lack of teaching, not playing with the child, not being there emotionally, lack of advice, fighting, arguing, affection. These are all the list of bad parenting.
It's interesting how you seem to have got a longer list for a bad father than you did for a good father.
Yeah, because I mean, statistically, and I haven't got the exact statistics, unfortunately, but the statistics of how much there are of broken homes compared to how many people are in homes that have got mother and father, there's way more single parents that are out there, whether it be they're staying with their mum or whether they're staying with their dad. And obviously, in our world that we live in at the moment, it's very much a lot of them single mothers that are having to deal with the situation. And in those situations, it then comes down to what's the relationship like? Can they co-parent or do they not co-parent? Do they just tend to say, well, we're not in a relationship no more, this is my child? And does the father now turn and walk away from it? Now, these are all questions that I suppose we're going to get onto. But I will start with saying, what do you guys feel the importance is of having a father in your child's life?
Just to give you a bit of context, because you did say about the stats there.
Yeah,
so there's 26% of people live with one parent only. 26%, yeah. 15% of children today are living with parents who are remarried, and 7% are living with cohabitating parents. So you're looking about a quarter of people, a quarter of children live with one parent only.
So how many do live with their actual mother and father?
You're looking about 3/4, so about 70, well, according to this, it'll be 74%.
That live with their mother and father?
Mother and father. But that's globally. So I suppose if you look at it...
But it's still a surprising stat, to be honest with you. I don't believe it was that high.
That's the high figure, though, you know. A quarter of people, it's still a high figure.
You're not holding it down to UK?
Yeah, it's a high
I think
figure.
the UK was something like 16%.
Is it 16?
Yeah.
There's not as many broken homes as you think.
Would, yeah.
The thing is, you have to appreciate that the environments that some of us live in, being a single parent is promoted rather than staying in staying in a household with both parents.
And that's what I was just about to pick you up on. When we say, for example, in the stats that we're saying here, where families are still together, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a happy family. It could be that mum, dad are doing their own thing. But the pressures from external or even their own beliefs, we're not separating.
The other thing is, the big thing is that the stats are linked to households where there is marriage involved. So if I'm not married, for example, so I wouldn't class as a family, if that makes sense.
Is that what the stats are down to, Wiley?
Rain, that's
I
just read it on the Daily Mail website.
Yeah, I'll break it down a bit more. Yeah, I'll break it down a bit more. It says, so for the last Office of National Statistics figures said that it was 66% living in a married or single partnered household, 66%. 19% are where they are in a household where the parents are together but they're not married or illegally, whatever. So you're talking about 15, going back to what Sorelli said, about 16% are in one parent household. That's just in the UK.
Right.
Talking about in the UK.
Makes more sense.
So only 16% are...
Yeah, and to me that makes sense. I mean, unfortunately in our community, culturally, it's like me and you, we're not getting on. Fine, leave. Okay, I'm leaving. Done. In other cultures, that's not an option.
Yeah, you're staying.
Yeah, you're staying.
You're staying and doing your responsibility of...
And you're not. And the verses to that is you're not leaving, no matter what.
It's your responsibility to look after the kids, pay the bills, regardless if you're unhappy or not. This is something you have to do.
So do you think this is... So you're putting it down to more cultural... You feel it's more culturally...
I think your shock on the
Stat
is based on your influence, which essentially is the culture that you prescribe to, which we live in. And I would appreciate that those numbers are higher in our community than they are in certain other communities. But if you were to look at the UK as a whole, the idea of I'm just going to go and live somewhere else is 0 to none.
So to give you kind of meat to the bone, stats from I think the last census that was done in 2019 state that in black families, 24% of them are single families, In mixed ethnicity, 19%. Others and whites both share 10%. And Asians at the bottom of the list make up 8%.
The Asians make 8%.
Of single families, single parent, be it the mother or the father. It doesn't give you differentiation between the two, but households with a single parent, 8%.
That's interesting.
And when you think of the number of ethnic people in the UK, this is just UK stats, 24% is a big percentage of us as a majority, because there isn't a lot of us in the UK. As much as, you know, in London, East London, whatever, it looks like there's a lot. As a country, there isn't a lot of black folk. So
5%.
5%, thank you very much. So
Well, to be fair, it's 7.5%. But it also, there's a grey area in the census that asks you, how do you identify? So it will say mixed.
White.
It says mixed. No. It says
Identify what
mixed.
you like.
It says mixed white. So mixed white then shades
yeah,
other areas, and that's obviously down to the individual. You know, if you're, for example, I'm just going to say Ukrainian and say
Spanish,
Kenyan,
yeah.
it's a mixed other. Do you get what I mean? So they won't tick any of the other boxes. So when you look at it across the scale, yes, it's about 7.5%. But regardless, it's a ridiculously high number.
It's extremely high.
And not to rant, but just the point of not willing to, and don't get me wrong, I am not with my child's mum. Do you know what I mean? Children's mums. I'm not. And in my head, I'm thinking, did I just bail out because it was easy? Was it just, I'm just going to walk away. I'm just going to not be present. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to, do you know what I mean? Not be the dad that I want to be. Versus, am I going to live in this environment that is poisonous? So all that's going to happen is my child or children are going to be raised in this toxic atmosphere.
So at that point,
which I then had to weigh out. Where do I sit in that, and how do I feel about being in that household versus my children's development and their need for their father on a day-by-day basis?
so I'm going to ask you that $1 million question now that everybody's probably thinking. Do you then see that as it being your fault?
Definitely. If I don't accept responsibility, then I have to blame the mum.
Yeah, but
And then in blaming the mum means I'm not taking responsibility for any of my actions, rightly or wrongly.
so what do you see as being your fault? Because we can't sit down here and say, yes, Citrus, it's your fault, everything mashed up because of you.
If I'm in a position to procreate, I have to be in a position to be able to create the pro. Do you get what I mean? Don't teeth that. It's mine. Rain is already writing it down. I'm going to tweet it. Let's not do that.
Tweeted.
It's mine, right? But essentially, it's I have to accept responsibility.
So I'm gonna throw a grenade out there then, because we was talking.
You're
about,
gonna throw a grenade out there?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw a grenade out there. So we was talking about the breakdown of ethnic minorities, black families and white families, whichever. Do you think black men, throwing it back to single fathers is your fault? Do you think black men find it easier to walk away from a relationship and say, you know, I've got a child, but I'm not gonna work at that relationship as opposed to other people?
Hard to see.
I think that's a mad question.
It's
hard
a
to
mad question,
say.
but I'm throwing it out there.
It's hard to see. You
The
can't see.
The reason why
what
it's
other
mad
cultures
is
do or
because
don't do.
the majority of people that are on this podcast are black. We are all
What do you mean
black.
majority? You mean all of us?
What do you identify? What do you identify as, bro?
Watching the live. He meant watching the live.
I mean on the live. I mean on the
okay,
live.
thank
On the
you.
live. So you're not gonna get that. What answer are we gonna get?
No, but I'm saying it, I'm throwing it out there as a question because if we're looking at the data of how things are and we're looking at the breakdown of when we look at these relationships and the numbers of what they show, it shows that these relationships in these families break down.
Yep.
Would we, in our own experiences, say that will be the case, or is it a case that there's other factors that play into it? I'm throwing the question out there. I'm not saying I've got the answer. It's, like I said, a grenade to garner an answer.
Can I?
Grenade to Ghana.
Yeah.
She's Nigerian.
That's why.
Calling out your countries.
A grenade to Ghana.
A Grenadian
That's it, was
Ghana.
Ghana. Grenade to
Yeah,
Ghana.
When you use your dictionary, you'll understand the word Ghana. What I mean by that.
wow,
It's a
okay,
grenade
sorry.
to get what the
Let's all pay
meaning.
attention.
It's a grenade. It's a
All
grenade
right.
to get what that is.
All right, Professor.
Sorry.
So, look, it would be unfair for us to say that it falls either way. I have to take responsibility for my actions. And one thing I can say, and it's not an excuse, it's life experiences that probably most of us have experienced. You can't teach what you never know. What you've never learned yourself, you cannot teach that because you can't pass on something you never had. Now, if I'm to look at things where I've learnt from or task or trials that I think to myself, I could have handled that better. I could have done this better. There are a number of things. So it doesn't start with, after, when the child is here. It starts with, picking your partner to begin with. A lot of cultures, parents pick.
Every week there's something. Every week there's one.
Has to be one.
Parents.
There has to be one. And that's just the first one. But parents pick the potential partners and do arranged marriages, introduce people, speak to the family and that kind of stuff. So from the start, there is support. Now, you as the child may not see it as support. You're like, why are you getting involved in my business? You bring me this woman I'm not even interested in. However, the parents have done a little vetting for you. They've done some little checks. They've done these things that you may not have looked at. It's like, I suppose, going to buy your first car. Hear me out for a second. You as a young, excited person who's just passed their tests, all you want is a car. You go and see the first car you see, it's got alloy wheels on it, it's got a spoiler at the back, and there's a bass box. You're not listening to if the engine's got a tick in. You just want this car because now it looks good. Now, you bring your dad with you who's got a little bit of experience, who's been driving forever. He looks at the car and he says, yeah, that looks so good, but start the engine for us. And then you can hear there's a tap-in going. Yeah, that's not a good sign. Open the engine. Let's have a look at the oil cap. Oh, there's some white gooey stuff there. That means that, the engine's gone, or it's going to be gone very soon. You're excited. All you can see is this car. I want a car. I've never had a car before. This is the car I want. So you need sometimes that support from somebody who has the experience to say to you, you know what? I'm not telling you not to get it. However, these are the things to consider if you do get it.
Brother, did you just break down a relationship and mix it, use your analogy as with a car?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. So I'm bringing my parent to come and analyze, so open up the leg. Mm-hmm. Pumpa's got a little bit of goo coming out of it. Maybe the one that was.
How did we get here?
How did we get to here? How?
I'm trying my hardest to work out why the hell am I bringing my parent to analyse what type of gal I'm going to come and say, this is my woman, this is the one I want to have.
That's what arranged marriages do, is what his point was.
Which is what I was going to get onto, so let me go carry on. All right?
You better come to that point quick, brother. You started off with goo.
You said open up and look under it and see the goo.
Right now, women are fuming on the live, bruv.
Brother, you was going off, I'm going to check this and I'm going to check. I'm not bringing my parent to analyse what type of gal I'm going to end up with to turn and say, this is going to be my child's mum or this is not going to be my child's mum or this is who I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. It's not to do with my parent. We had this before and we all came to a consensus at one point to turn and say, I think me and you actually agreed on something to say,
no, impossible.
It was. And it was like, I said, basically that we're not going to let our parents choose who it is that we're supposed to be with. That's not who chooses who I'm going to be with. I will make that choice.
That's our culture. But in the cultures he's talking about, that's what they do.
And remember, I'm not saying they choose for you. I'm saying they give you their opinion of the situation.
I don't want your opinion, nor do I need it. All right.
Oh wow,
wow.
I will pick who I choose to pick.
Buddy never got beaten.
No, but I got whipped. I ain't gonna
That's
lie.
your camp.
no, I ain't on your team.
But he was spoiled.
Like,
So,
I definitely weren't spoiled. But anyway, let's not even talk about you.
Not was,
But
is.
anyway, what I was trying to say to you, right, at the end of the day is, nobody's got that choice. You can, your friends will give you advice and they'll tend to say to you, this girl is this type of person, and people around you will give you a review, if you like, on what people are like. All right. But they're not going to make a choice for me. My choice will come from me because it comes from here and it comes from here. Both my heart, if people are listening, and my head. Those are the two places where it will come from. It will not come from, this is Rain's opinion, so I'm going to listen to it and follow it because Rain's the Dungargan, the Bumba Clark, rah, rah, rah. All right, I'm not going to sit there and say, I'm going to follow that. My dad's my dad. He might have a great opinion. My mum's my mum. She might have a great opinion, but I'm going to follow what my heart says and what my head says, and I'm going to learn the lessons I need to learn. I don't believe that makes a decision on where we go to being and to bring it right back, a good father or a bad parent. Basically, that's not going to put me onto that track. Citrus.
Thank you. Coming back to your point, Wiley, and to be fair, Sorelli touched on it. Someone asked me this question about 20 years ago, and it always stuck in my head. If Dr. Olufemi and Dr. Olufemi have a child, and Mr. Patel and Mrs. Patel, who are both teachers, have a child, what would be the child's occupation?
If I go with Nigerian culture, they will definitely steer you to go towards the most educated, the most.
I framed the question saying doctor and doctor.
Doctor and doctor.
had
So
a
they
child.
would say you have to follow into the tradition of being a doctor, and I would expect that in the other family as well, you have to follow into the tradition
Patel?
of being a teacher.
Okay, so then let's say Ray Ray and Shanique had a child.
Yep.
Ray Ray and Shanique.
What is that child's occupation? All of these children go to the same school.
It depends. I mean, you haven't framed what the occupation of those parents are. So if without knowing,
So Ray has a job. He works on a construction line, and Shanique works as a hairdresser.
Rapper.
It's not a rapper.
no, it depends. It depends. You know that's
So what-
Influencer.
What's the child's job?
if you go with what the stereotype of that would be, the stereotype would be they don't have anything to be following the line of because both parents are not doing the same thing. But that's the stereotype, innit? If you go with the stereotype of it, that's what society would expect. Oh, well, they're not gonna, forgive me for using the wrong phrase, amount to a lot compared to the other family.
Because doctor and doctor versus
teacher and
teacher versus...
but we have seen, especially now in the last generation of kids growing up, we have seen children breaking away from that. So I get the point. I think I get the point what you're saying there, but I can also see that it's not so much about where traditionally, or where if you go back about maybe a generation, 2 generations, that would be the expected thing. People would stick with that way. It's a new wave now. And I think these kids now, they're seeing they don't need to for them to make money, or for them to make the same amount of money as maybe a teacher or a doctor would be, they can do things like, we're joking about influencers, but influencers are making a lot of money. We're joking about people being on YouTube, they're making a lot of money. If they can see a way forward, they will do that. So whether their parents would have the same pride in that is another story.
So coming back to the question about parenting and what Sorelli said, that if you do not see the path has already been walked, to then walk that path, you have to be a pioneer. So when it comes down to it, the child has to then become a pioneer. Now, if you came from a home that was broken, and now you've found yourself a potential partner that you want to spend the rest of your life with, you're going to look at all of the things that you've gone through that you didn't like, or the struggle that your parent or parents went through, and say, do you know what, we're going to do none of that. However, I now need to pioneer my life and navigate through this forest to get to the promised land of happiness. And do I know how to do it? No. Have I seen it been done? No. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try.
But then...
And within trying, if your chick here is turning around and saying, well, you think that's the route to happiness, but I saw on Instagram, that's the route to happiness. And you're like, well, this is the way I want to go. Straight away, because none of us have the map, none of us have the compass to what direction we need to go in, now we're trying to just work it out. And in working it out, as soon as the disagreements come or the mistakes are made and you now have to go back 7 miles because we should have taken a left at the oak tree, but we took a right. Do you get what I mean? When you start seeing these things and you've got no, there's no North Star to follow per se, then it gets to the point of, well, 1 second, I thought you knew the route. You've now wasted my time, wasted my life, wasted this, wasted that. I don't want nothing to do with you no more. You don't know what you're doing. What do you mean? I'm trying my best. You don't know what you're doing. At least I'm trying. Clash. Now, I'm going to go off into the wilderness on my own. You're going to go in the wilderness on your own because you, for example, she's been told, you don't even need a man. Do you know what I mean? Enoch Powell?
Yeah. Racist.
You don't even need your husband. You can do it on your own. Slowly, it's trickled all the way down. And now it's, oh babe, what's for dinner? Fish. I don't like fish. Well, then gotta make your own food then. Wait, one second. How did we get from the question to the, do you understand? So then immediately you got power struggles and to turn around and say, well, you know what? My mum did it on her own. She's okay. I'm going to be okay.
So it kind of
because none of us know the path to get there. So what I then see, and I admire it, especially for some of my friends who have stuck it out through very, very, very difficult, challenging times and not knowing where the path is and not necessarily making it to the promised land, but still traveling in that direction. Yep. I'll turn around and say, you know, well done to you. And I'm talking especially to some of the dads who, to the point, are dragging the mums along. Do you know what I mean?
Kicking and screaming.
Yeah, kicking and screaming. However, if the output is the child is going to get the best that they can receive in this uncharted territory, then that's what's going to happen.
So it kind of leads me on to one of the questions I wanted to ask. No, that's right.
Sorry, before you ask that question, can I ask you a question, please? Just for clarity. So, obviously, the podcast is it father's fault? What exactly is it that you're saying is our fault? Is it the breakup of the relationship? Is it the not looking after the kid?
Well, one of the things I was leading on to, which was, I was about to say, what leads to the breakdown of a relationship? Was exactly the exact words I was going to say.
Okay.
So you're saying, is it our fault that the relationship is broken down?
Well, this was the exact question I was just
No,
about
just for clarity, I wanted to understand, because we started talking about it, but we started going in all different kind of areas.
Yes,
so.
and that's what I was about to say. It leads me nicely onto what leads to the breakdown. What is your thoughts of what leads to the breakdown of a relationship?
Communication.
Okay, that's one. Wiley.
100%. Aside from that, honesty.
Okay.
Temptation.
Bad man. I like that one.
Yeah, but it's a Beyonce song, isn't it?
And I want to come back again with what I think is probably one of the
I'll
biggest.
go right and then I'll come to you. Go on. Tongo.
Egos.
Okay, that's different. It's better than Echo, but yeah, I like it. It was a good one. It's a good one.
Grass is greener.
Oof.
Is that temptation-ish?
It's a bit echo-ish.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not. It's I can do this on my own. I'm not being tempted to do it on my own. I can do it on my own. I don't need you. Rain, stop reaching.
What is your quick thinker? And that's what you just did there. But
No.
Sorry. Post to the most.
It's called, it's called educate, not quick thinking.
All right.
I'll let Cyrilli.
That side of the tin won't understand.
So, for me, apart from communication, the other big, enormous factor is respect.
I respect.
Grass clap.
As to why things break down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if I don't respect you, all of a sudden, everything's on the table. I can say whatever comes to my mind.
Oh, right. Okay.
to you.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It comes down to one thing that I think I saw on a reel. Funny enough, do men prefer respect or love? And they're saying that men prefer to be respected rather than be loved. Like that's what they prefer out of the two. If you have a choice between the two, men will go for more if they want to be respected rather than loved. Which is probably different for what a woman would want. They would probably prefer to be loved than respected like that.
To give you full clarity on that, it's not just they would prefer to be respected more than loved. It's that men associate respect with love. You respect me because you love me. So there's so much more to it than just you respect me and that's it. Because by you respecting me, it shows me that you love me. It shows me that you have me in your heart. That when you think about something, or when you think about me, it doesn't just stop there. It goes further down the line.
I mean, some of the things that was put down was lack of affection, no sex, time, pressures in the household, moaning, financial strain, no couple time, fitness, and cheating.
Fitness.
People getting overweight.
Rotted.
It could be a thing.
I hear you.
What? You're saying rotted, but
Because the thing is, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, if I'm in a happy home and everything else is bliss,
Bladder.
and wait,
no, my bro. No, don't get yourself in trouble. Not yet. No, let him finish. No, let him finish. Like the other week. Let him finish.
Let me finish.
Let's listen to this.
If everything else is good, and you're telling me because you've put on weight,
She could have let her hair on the back grow.
But no,
he said fitness.
No, but he's got a point. So
He said fitness.
But it comes between the beauty.
Fitness is health.
This is going to be very crude. So we're not talking about your missus. I'm just talking theoretically. When you met the girl, the thing was waxed. It was Hollywood. And then when everything's nice and blah, blah, blah.
It's Yeti.
And Yetified.
So everything's blessed.
She's a junglist. Then
No,
what?
but that's
Junglist massive.
but that's not fitness.
Then what?
No, but it's
parents.
It's the same.
parents.
No, that's a parents.
When
That's
she started
different.
at 8 and she's now at 18, then what?
It's the
Still involved,
same.
yeah?
It's the
If
same type of thing.
Can I answer the question?
Yeah, go for
Yeah,
it.
go on.
18.
Very.
If I'm in love with this woman, her being at 8, at 18, or 28 doesn't make a difference to me. Yes, I might not like her in that in the same. Hold on. I may not like it because I think to myself, health-wise, I want you to live a long and healthy life.
Nah, shut up, man.
So wait, Rain. All right.
So wait.
Wait.
I remember when I first met you, babe. You had a belly top.
So
Now
wait.
your titty
Your
is touching
missus
your
now-
kneecap.
Sorry.
Producer, cut this part here, please. As in for a reel or something.
So
He
your
does
missus
it to
puts on
himself
weight
every time.
Every week,
Brother,
Puts a gun
you
in
know
his
what?
mouth and just.
Don't point at me, bruv.
The truth can say whatever he wants, yeah? And yaga yao, I'm not even entertaining that. I'm telling you, for me, if I'm with somebody and you put on weight, I may not be happy for your health.
Oxymoron.
However, that's not going to say to me, oh, you know what, I'm going to run away now because you've put on weight. That's me.
Okay, so if you listen to what was said,
Yeah.
it was a list of things
Yeah.
that will cause a breakup.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily saying you put on weight, I'm gone. These things cause. So I think if you put a little, like if you're making a cake,
yeah.
you put a little bit of each. One thing will lead on to another. So I'm gonna fully jump on. If I met you and you looked like this, and you now look like that, am I going to be vexed? No, I won't be vexed. However, if it's because you've let your lifestyle plummet and you now are not invested in yourself, so when I first met you, you'd go to the gym or you'd eat healthily, drink healthily, do you know what I mean? Your two litres of water a day, etc., etc., etc. Now you're eating McDonald's and drinking milkshakes as you're coming through the door. This isn't culture.
Well, I'll make it a little bit better. I'll make it a little bit better. All right, so we'll take that away. I'm gonna.
I ain't taking that away.
No, I'm not taking
No,
it.
I'm not taking
So
it.
when I say leads to a breakup, so you got to think to yourself.
When she don't wax her when her eyebrows start joining up.
No,
Why you do your eyebrows, babe? Oh, we're not even going out. I'm just sitting here with the little one.
Or the invisibles become visible.
You lot are
Bruv.
so out.
And this
I'm
is
gonna
like
help
the-
everybody
the
out.
hair on
Just
the
doing
ting.
this, doing this.
I'm gonna help everybody, even really, because
rocking the you on the boob.
his point isn't invalid. All right.
Invalid.
No, it's not invalid. Because I'll tell you why. All right. So your missus has a
That
baby.
East African.
Yeah, go for it.
No, your missus has a baby, right? She'll then obviously put on the weight.
Yes.
All right. And now
Check.
sometimes they don't lose the weight.
Check.
All right. Now this is one of the reasons why to bring this side of the things up, and especially the weight side of things. So sometimes they don't lose the weight. They now can't get rid of the weight for whatever reason, they're not exercising or whatever else not. So they don't lose any of the weight. I'm now with you. You're not even trying anymore. You're just like, well, I've had the baby. I'm cool. It's comfortable. Everything's blessed. I don't need to even take a jog. And this is now her now. She's just now, in no rude way, please don't slander me. All right? She's a big thing. All right.
No, I think that's all right. I think you can get away with that.
Okay, all right.
Barely. Barely.
I'm not on that.
But I'm just making
Blood, what are you doing?
Bro, you said, bro.
Go on, carry on.
That I will still love my woman if she's big. Yes.
But anyway, she's now big. So it's like, oh, now am I now gonna turn and my attraction to this woman, my girlfriend, the mother of my child, is now lessened a little bit because she's now not the same size she was before. She's not even trying to get to that. In fact, if anything, she's put on more weight. So now I'm just like,
As in, she's bigger than when she gave birth.
yeah, she's just big now.
So, for example, size 10, pregnant, size 12 through the pregnancy, got to 14, got to 16, had a baby, dropped to 12. No, had a baby, dropped to 12, and then swell up
Back to 14.
15.
back to the Outer Hebrides.
What? Just because my mind works on the sizes. Because everything you said, I'm picturing the sizes. I'm like 14's blessed. Where was you gonna go?
No, so I'm saying you got to a point. No, I'm saying you got to a point.
Man, I am now starting to calculate numbers.
Shouts out to Bun Hardy Bless Joseph who says, not a big thing, fluffy is better.
Okay, fluffy. Thank you. Fluffy.
That's another
Fluffy, I'll take
podcast.
that.
And
We love Fluffy.
I think that's in terms of the terminology.
You love Fluffy.
I think that's in terms of the terminology.
We love Fluffy.
So go on.
So coming back to it, it's so Ring, coming back to it, it's so obviously she's had the baby, babies come out, afterbirths come out.
Yeah. Shit. Okay.
Now you just got
Gone deep.
the residual weight.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you,
My
Rain.
issue is with that, right? I'm not saying snap back, like go back to where you were before.
Impossible, yeah.
It's not that. It's not impossible. We have a friend.
No.
She knows how to do it.
No, but
So,
what I mean
and
is, as she's given birth, it's impossible the next day to be the
Snap back.
Yeah.
Cool. But what I'm saying is, if after time, and don't get me wrong, I get it, it's fatigue now being a mum or a new mum.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Time constraints and availability, and maybe not knowing how to be the mum or the support that's around. Do you know what I mean? There are so many factors. But what I'm saying is, as soon as you relax and let yourself go and not care, this is where, I mean, they mentioned weight, but I think the list is long. Do you know what I mean? Do you know when, I just got to talk real. Do you know when the chick wake up in the morning, let's go out now,
the hair
and it just bops out. What, no comb, babe, no blush, no nothing. Do you know when the eyebrows are now just doing everything? They're just,
You're moving mad.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, there's pure things there that's wrong right now.
I'm telling you the truth.
The hair thing I can deal with.
So I'm turning around and saying, when beforehand, yeah, babe, you might wear a nice little leggings and a little top and whatever else, and just make whatever you're working with, just make it work, make it look nice. And I'm like, yes, I can see you're my woman, you're looking after yourself, you're taking care of yourself. You don't need to go back to the size you were beforehand. Just manage where you are right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good.
However,
Yeah.
if you're not managing where you are right now, and I look at you and I think, this doesn't feel like the same person who I fell in love with initially. And the reason why that is because lifestyle has kicked in and comfortability, or whatever you call it, has kicked in. Now, I'm now like, and then the crazy thing is I go on Instagram, and because I'm friends with Rain, I'm getting pure. Because I'm friends with Rain now, I'm getting so much. So do you like?
Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday.
So to
Why
bring,
did you ask?
to
Why
bring
did you
that
ask?
back to,
Sorry.
is it your fault? So is it your fault for not then saying, you know what?
Right.
I don't like this. I don't like whatever.
That's a bit harsh,
Can
but-
you do whatever? Can you change that? Is it your fault? Because ultimately, if you're in that relationship, you should be able to say what you're feeling to make that relationship work. So if you're just saying that these things are happening and they're happening and you're not actually saying anything, isn't that down to you?
Great area, bruv. Great, because if you speak,
If I speak,
and then she says to your mum, Wiley told me I'm fat. All of a sudden,
Wait. In that way, it's
yes,
let's do.
there's no, yeah.
So how
there
do you
is
then?
no,
So how do you then tackle that to make your? Because ultimately, we're saying, is it your fault that you're being the single father in a
No,
situation?
what we're saying is
tackle
more.
that?
Does these things that we're looking at? So when we start and say
The factors, innit?
the factors, does that now make it now that I'm going to break up the relationship, which is the first part of breaking up the home, all right, and then we'll go on to the next part of it. But what it is is it now our fault that we break up the relationship because we're now saying, well, you put on weight, so now I'm gone. Are we not now going to sit there and say, jump on the treadmill? Or let me not give you McDonald's every day?
Well, no, but you should be doing something. If there's something if something has changed, and there's a big change, there's things you can do. I'm not saying you got to say, right, jump on a treadmill. That's a bit harsh, but you can involve yourself in.
You know, Rain's leaving skipping ropes over every door.
Just slim fast in the fridge for no reason.
Let's play the game.
But no, in all seriousness, you
Put all the food on the top shelf, hide the ladder. So she has to jump.
When you drop her off, don't drop her right into the station.
jump with this exercise. But you do stuff with your partner. You might collectively join the gym. You might go for
Yes.
walks. It's not that you're gonna go for runs.
Yeah,
you
go
go
for
for
walks.
Let's go and see this, or let's walk from. Let's say, for example,
Get off 2 stops early
I don't
and
want
walk
to.
home.
and then let's have a look at nature.
I don't want to.
Huh?
I don't want to. I'm not out of shape.
That's
I don't want
fuckery.
to.
That's fuckery. That's
Wow.
fuckery. Sorry to swear. Sorry, I'm not supposed to swear. It's a new thing.
Right, Tongo.
Man got emotional. He got emotional.
No, that is a lot.
Yes,
I can see why
I
you're
don't want to.
I can
but
see why you're
expect
team mash up. Yeah.
Listen, shouts out to those that are on the
Wow.
line. There have been some comments as well. Shouts out to Livy9111 who says, big up the fluffy girl then. And Bun Highly Blessed Joseph says, you should be able to receive constructive criticism to your partner, and if so, try and find a solution together.
I bet Bun Highly Blessed was a TFL or something like that. Or you know those ones.
But ultimately,
politically correct.
if we're talking about it, and to add to what Buddy's saying, there's got to be a point where if we're talking about the relationship is at risk, and we can see it's at risk, what are we doing to save that relationship and stop being a single father?
I definitely understand your point. And as when I answered the question at the beginning and you said, was it my fault? I said, yes, it was. Because did I do every single thing in my artillery to ensure that the outcome wasn't the outcome that happened? And now, as an older person, no, I didn't. There were thousands more things that I could have done that I didn't do. And did I know that I could have done them at the time? No. Did I have the support network to say, did you try this, did you try that? No, I didn't. But I could have probably found out. If I had invested enough into finding out, if that makes sense.
So before you go, really, I just want to say what you just said was interesting because there's a chain, and you said did you have the support network, and could you have found out type of thing? If there was a chain, which is the chain now, if you had your dad, for example, in your life, would you have now been able to recognise something?
Ask the question,
had that conversation,
Yeah.
Which kind of brings us on to something else. But we'll continue and let Sorelli.
I like your depiction of the situation because you're right. Like I said, you can't teach what you don't know. So therefore, you not having that. I remember you coming to ask me questions about relationship and me winging it.
Still winging it now,
Brother, I was confident with my answer as well. But the thing is, that was the best of my abilities at that time. Now, I think you're being a little bit unfair because ultimately, if somebody doesn't want to be with you, regardless of what you do to the 8th power, if the person doesn't want to be with you, they don't want to be with you. If you've got to that point where we're talking about the woman putting on weight, everybody has bellies a little bit bigger than it used to be.
This man hit my stomach.
You're supposed to pass it on.
And he said, he's like, oh, Tito.
No, but let's be realistic about it. Let's talk the talk, innit? Everybody here, their stomach is a little bit bigger than it was 5 years ago. Yeah? And we accept that. We understand that, age is coming on. We're not running or going to the gym as we used to, whatever the case may be. Our metabolism isn't as it used to be. We're not raving Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, there are things that have changed. Now, she may look at you differently. Like, wow, when I met this guy, he had all his hair. Man even had plaits. He had a 6-pack. Nah, I can't get him to get off the sofa once he comes home from work. So there are changes throughout the whole thing. But you could do so much.
But the question is about... Sorry, Tongo, go on.
Going back to that, shout out to having a country. He said, has she lost the curves and shape, or she just gained healthy weight? So with us, would we call it healthy weight? Because, we're getting a bit more
Havana
stronger.
just
We're getting
like-
a bit more.
Havana just likes big things. That's what it is. But I get what he said, and I did think of that because obviously there are a lot of women that put on weight after pregnancy, and you look at them and you think, rah, that has agreed with you, and it might have been what you needed. You know
All
what I
right,
mean?
but I want to take the weight conversation off the table,
Okay.
and put it back to the investment in yourself. So things like, and I'm not saying that it has to be this religious, but you don't do your nails, babe. You don't wax your legs, babe. You don't you don't eat healthily. Do you know what I mean? You're not doing the regime that I needed you to do. Like, do you know what? I'm just going to talk in it. So, hair is an attraction to me.
Is an attraction.
Yes.
Under the armpits?
We don't need to get specific, brother.
No, like hair. No, just like neck down.
Okay.
Just louder.
Okay.
But hair on your head
Yep.
is an attraction. How you conduct the hair on your head could deter how our interaction is.
Really?
Because I'm trying to talk to you, and I can see
This
you
thing's
haven't-
waving at you.
Yeah, you haven't just looked after yourself today.
But what if her hair is real and it might be like
Real or not real, I never mentioned any of that. I'm just saying,
Presentable.
present yourself. Do you know what I mean? Present yourself. Be in a position to present yourself. Because I want to receive my woman in her best light, regardless how she may, what's the word?
What if she just woke up?
Say again?
What if she just woke up?
Okay, Tongo.
Tongo's in the room. Leave her alone. Leave her alone.
Tongo's at the bottom of the bed. Shut up! Smelling her toes. You know, anyway, so the point
Leave Brittany alone.
the point I'm trying to make is hold yourself in the best light. And if you hold yourself in the best light, I will see the light you're portraying.
But
I'll
how's you
see
to
the
you
brightness. I'll see. Now, if there's a point where you start to let certain things slip and become the norm, and now you're wearing my t-shirt, not in a sexy way where they used to just tie it in a knot and just make it look all sexy. It's just big and buduf. You got some workman trousers on and you just got the big fluffy sock slippers,
And the big panties that come up to here.
the big control pants that come up to here, and they're what they called?
Bingo bags.
Their skin colour. You know, now all of a sudden the French knickers and phones get that way. Do you know what I mean? We've got girdle control things, and I'm looking at you, and in my head I'm like, Wiley said I should tell you to fix this.
See,
This isn't necessarily going to work for me, because if I'm going to be that honest, you're going to hit me back with your honesty, and I may not be in a position to accept it. So can I even share this with you? And sorry, buddy, I know it's definitely about the fatherhood
Yeah.
conversation, but if I could be honest about some of the aspects that could generate a breakdown from conversations I've had with some of our extremely close friends, I can tell you these are the things that have started the ripple effect to where now your breathing hurts my brain. Do you get what I mean?
So-
But it started from somewhere.
So the one thing I hear that, and I appreciate your points. Thank you for them. But we're coming very much from an angle of it's yeah, this is the reason why I had that problem. But where's the part where you're going to turn and tell me it was your fault? Because there are parts where at the end of the day, like I didn't have that, so that was a problem for me. I never had that conversation with you. I let it go. I got pissed off. I then went down the road. I saw Becky. Becky was flirting at me, and then I turned and said to myself, "This is me."
Becky, a real person.
Brother, I was about to say, one day Becky's going to turn up.
One day Becky, it's Becky.
Last time it was Susie. This time it's
No, Becky's real.
Becky with a good hair is going to turn up one day.
Becky's real.
Yeah, my TV. But once she turns up now, and I'm like, "Rah, she's nice," and I'm getting on with her. She's doing the things. So this is now my fault, because I've gone off and I've cheated, all right, and I've not respected the relationship that I'm in. I'm not respected in other senses. I'm not respecting my child, because I'm not even turned and said to myself, I'm going to take that into consideration. I'm turning and saying, and censor this.
Just for lust.
But I say my dick's hard and I'm going for it.
wow.
Sorry, bro. I know you tried to help me.
For lust, I'm now going to throw a whole grenade in my whole setup.
Yeah.
And it's not acceptable. And to be fair, out of like in our friend circle, I know 3 guys that have done this.
Yeah,
and immediately regretted. Jeez.
But when did they?
When they got caught. As soon as they got caught,
They got caught, they regret it. When they did it,
when did they regret it?
Yeah.
Is it when your boss is like, oh shit. In the throes of it, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm doing my
yeah,
thing.
you're not regretting it.
Yeah,
but the is it your fault? As Buddy mentioned, as soon as you start, as your eyes start to wander, do you know what I mean? You're in control of that part. This is when we're at fault. As soon as we start noticing things we didn't notice before.
But what do you do to prevent it? And I mean,
so Wiley said you have to go and be honest.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go on and talk the things. You have to turn around and say,
I'm the truth,
babe. There's something which isn't working for us. Right now.
But we're still not. We're still kind of pushing it over
Away, yeah.
and not
Responsibility.
answering
Not
the
taking
thing
the
of
responsibility
was
of-
it our single fathers? Is
No.
it your fault?
He just said, so Wiley just said, tell her,
Right.
say it. Now, if you haven't said it and you're living in your feelings, and the more you're living in your feelings, you start noticing other things that you were blind to because you weren't living in your feelings then, but you're living in your feelings now and you're noticing everything. Now you're willing to act on it because it's gone too far. Is it your fault?
yes or no?
It is.
So it is the man's fault then.
I would say in that respect, from what you just mentioned regarding infidelity, it's your fault.
But there's other things. There's things like, I don't know, where you're constantly moaning in the household. I've had enough of it. My brain's just had enough of it, and I can't take it no more.
Yeah, but Bud, is she moaning because you're not doing the things that you told her you were going to do when you become a father, and now that you are a father, you're still playing PlayStation? You're not pulling your weight. You're not doing that.
Okay.
Those roles that
You're expecting me to be a mum and a wife and a housewife and a cleaner.
and you still just want to be my boyfriend. You're now not being a father. But in your defense, you don't know how to be a father. This is your first child. You've never had a father around to do the things that, okay, let's go do your homework. Come, let me put you to the bath, wash you, read your bedtime story and put you to bed. Because you always had your mum and your mum always did everything.
And your friends around you, you see them with their kids.
Your friends around you are amazing.
They're doing the same type of. They're like, yo, you coming out? We're going out raving tonight. I'm like, right, why don't you look after? Oh, I'm not.
Oh,
with
but
that
Mrs.
one.
has got this. She's got this. She's got this. She's got this. Oh, to be fair, me and her not together no more, bro. She's stressing me out. So whenever she's stressing me out.
So now, I suppose through
I'm going to the
influences-
club.
No, it's not. It's worse than that.
Confidence back.
You know what? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna pour my negativity into someone else's cup. But anyway,
No, she came to that podcast, right?
even worse than that, in your mind, being a father means, you know what? You go to the baby mum, forgive the phrase, but I'm just saying it because now you've broken up. Here's £500.
Slander.
That's what you need. I'm giving you money. I'm bopping now. Buy the baby what he needs or what she needs. Deal with it. I'm gone. Because for some men, that is
their contribution.
That's their contribution.
That's everything, yeah.
That's their image of fatherhood because their father turned up on their birthday. Here you go. Here's a PlayStation. You don't see him for 12 months. He comes back at your birthday again, or he comes at Christmas. Here's a bike. He disappears again. Then he comes back again for your birthday. This time, I didn't have a chance to go buy you something. Here's £200. Go buy whatever you want. And you've now associated that with fatherhood.
But okay, right. Sorry, I'm just trying to go back. So the single father part, you probably got it as a question. What made or what makes a single father? Have we answered that?
No, we haven't. But yeah, go on.
So, but no, it's a question. So
Yeah.
what ultimately makes a single father?
A single father, I mean, other than having the child full time, all right, what makes, from my eyes, so I'll answer your question, is a single father is basically co-parenting. So, like I said, there's two sides of it. Either you have you have the child full time, or you have the child part time.
Yeah.
Anything past that, all right, like weekend dads or anything like that, that's not a single father. There's a single mother, and you're. You know what I mean, I don't see that as a.
What is weekend dad's not part time then? I'm confused.
I don't know. I mean,
Ultra part-time.
Bruv,
Wiley's saying 0-hour contracts.
Straight up.
I tell
We'll call you when we need you.
I'll tell you why. And I like the way it's kind
Sorry,
of.
and when you say weekend dads, are you talking about fortnightly weekend or every weekend or what are you talking about?
All right, so I'll give you a stat. All right.
Yes.
So here we go. So I put down is weekends enough time? One weekend equals 36 hours in total.
Sorry, but before you give us the full
What
stat.
school did you go to?
Sorry. Wait.
Let me stay out of it. Let me finish, bro.
Hold on. Whoa.
Just so I understand, when you say is it enough for what?
Enough time with your child.
One second. I beg, let him finish it. He
know
didn't
like
even
that.
land the point.
Right, let me do that and then we can go into that. All right. So one weekend is 36 hours if you pick up your child from a Friday and you have to drop them home on a Sunday. Okay. Friday evening being, because obviously they've got school, they might have to come home, whatever else not, so we do it from 6 o'clock. All right, you pick up your child, they'll go to bed roughly around 9 o'clock. All right, but I did 36 hours in total, and they'll probably wake up at 8 o'clock. So I'm giving them 11 hours worth of sleep.
I got that when
so
you said it.
So in average, it works out to be 14 hours awake that they'll spend with you for one weekend. All right, for a whole month awake, that makes out to be 56 hours.
Mad thing.
All right, that you spend with your child in a month.
That's a mad
All right,
stat.
if you do it every other week, it works out to be 28 hours.
Shit.
All right, that's how much time you will spend with your child.
Less than 2 days.
It's a day and 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's mad. When you put it like that, that's mad.
So when you sort of say to me, is that part time being a weekend dad? I'm like, boy,
It's not even part-time.
it's not. Thank you very much.
However, I'm not going to jump on that because sometimes that's all that works.
But he's not wrong though. I hear what you're saying.
No,
but that doesn't make you wrong.
That's all that works. So
But so who?
that's all that might work for the family, for the mum and the dad. For example,
For the co-parenting situation.
If dad lives in Harrow and mum lives in Croydon, for dad to be able to be accessible every evening, for example, potentially means dad now can't work, because if he needs to be available to pick the child up after school, bring him or her or them home, put them to bed every evening, go back home to the other side of London and whatever else, on a scale of being able to do that and work, may not necessarily, I'm saying work in a 9 to 5 job, may not necessarily work. So the option is then to move to the weekends, because the weekends, I don't have work, there's no constraints. Like once I've crossed London once, I've already crossed London, it's done. Now, as much as potentially mum's at home, mum might pick him up or meet him after school club at 5, child goes to bed at 8:30, that's 3 hours, 3.5 hours, 4 hours every evening, for example. I'm just trying to outline it. So then therefore, you then need to work out if the quality time with the child, and I think that's what the difference is. If you then said the quality time of the child is 28 hours.
Well, it's even less than that.
No. He said awake hours.
No, but what I'm saying is you're not going to be able to have 28 consecutive hours of quality time.
Yeah, of course.
It's not
It's
consecutive.
impossible.
It doesn't have to be consecutive.
No, but
He
My
literally just said the child's going to be awake for this period. So to have quality time for the child to be awake,
He's right.
for the child to be
It's
awake,
done from 6 till 9.
It's 6 till 9,
and then they go to bed.
and then wake up at 8 o'clock. Yeah,
and then afterwards from 8 till 9 again, and then afterwards they go to bed, and then from 8 till 6 because I've got to drop them back.
No, I hear
That's
that. But what I'm saying
that's
is,
how much it works
even
out.
though that's the case, those 28 hours are not going to be quality time.
Not the whole time.
Not the
Can't
whole
be quality
time. It's impossible.
No. But no. You're looking at it wrong. So to say I've got my child physically awake with me for that weekend for the 14 hours. Yeah, this is what you're saying, right?
14 hours.
For the 14 hours, they're going to be awake with me. That is the quality time. Now, not every one of those 14 hours is it going to be, do you know what I mean, bubbles, balloons, bath time and beach.
Reading, education.
Do you know what I mean? You've got to fit all the other things in. So it's not going to be fun and joy for the whole thing. But if it's your child even just sitting down watching you read or listening to you read or reading beside you, all of these other things, these what play the part of contribution. What I believe anyway. These play part of contribution. Now, being able to do that and being successful in doing that, you will have a strong impact on your child. Because if you then calculated the rest of the hours, when the child's gone back to mum's, for example, at 6, got to mum's at 7, bath time, bed, got to get up and school in the morning. In the school, wake up in the morning, breakfast, gone to school. After school, you'll get the quality time from mum then. But if that's 3 hours a night
day for 5 days,
for 5 days, that's only 15 hours, which is only
It's
one more.
It's only the same
hour.
as the dad.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm not turning around and saying anyone is better or worse. Obviously, the impact is different because the child's going to be physically with their mum for a longer period of the week. But as Buddy said, in the 14 hours, depending on what you want to do during those awake hours, your impact could be a lot stronger because you have a sustained period to have an impact.
Sorry.
So one second. Does that make sense, gents?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I don't agree with it, but I understand what you're saying.
So you said a lot, and one of the things that I wanted to jump in and say was there's a part where you said about being one living there and one living there. There are certain sacrifices, all right, as a parent, I expect. Do you know what I mean? As my parent, I didn't get it from my dad. My mum done plenty of sacrifices for myself and my brothers and sisters. All right, 100%, and I commend her for that every day. Every time I speak, I'll say she made loads of sacrifices for us. Now, in a lot of situations, a lot of households, the mum makes plenty of sacrifices for their child. The father, most times, which is part of this podcast, we don't. Not all of us. There's some of us, and I'll commend a lot of people in the room. All right, without telling everybody's business. All right, but I can't sit there and say that's everybody that I know that will sit there and say to themselves, well, you know what, they make those sacrifices. They're saying, I live in a situation myself. I will only live a certain amount of. I co-parent with my child, and I'll openly say, I've said it on a podcast before. I co-parent with my child, and I deliberately have not lived further than a certain amount of yardage away from his school, because I've always said to myself, whatever school he's going to, I need to make sure that I live around that area so I can get him to school. All right. Now, I could have easily said, I'm going to live in Croydon and say, there's a yard in Croydon. Let me go live in Croydon. It's cheaper down there, so let me go down there. And that would be better for me. But then I wouldn't be able to take him to school every day. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to turn and say, I can co-parent and have my child 50% of the time.
Pause a second. What if she moves?
If she moves, again, it's a conversation, but I've worked myself into the position where I can have this conversation. And it's not something that I'm oblivious to, because it is something that I may have to face. And it's something that, funny enough, within the relationship that I have with my child's mum, all right, I have to have that conversation with her.
Okay, but she's moved, so you now are in the situation of Harrow and Croydon.
Okay, but then...
What are you going to do now?
And then I now try to say, I will make a sacrifice. Whichever way the sacrifice works, I will have to make a sacrifice. My child has lived in a as we're going to call it, I suppose, a single household, because I don't want to call it broken. All right, a single household, all right, from since he was 1.5. All right, he knows no different other than to be with his dad on half the week and his mum on the other half of the week. He knows that. That's his life. So when anyone turns and says to me, maybe him just being with his mum or maybe him just being with his dad would work better for the child, he doesn't know what it's like to just be with mum or just be with dad. His life works out to be... Pardon?
Neither do you.
I think Tongo's got a really good point, because...
Nobody don't get it, is that...
No, he's got a really good point, because if mum just turns around and says, well, I got family in Birmingham, just going to move there. So are you now leaving
London
and going to Birmingham?
Do you know what the funniest thing is? At one point in life, and when he was very young, at the time when we broke up, 100% I would have done it.
So would you do it now?
Would I do it now? I would. My child's 10. All right. I now have to turn and sit there and say to myself, and the funniest thing is, it is a possibility on some of the things that I've spoken about. And this is me getting into my inner life, which I don't really like to discuss on the podcast. But it's like, he's going to secondary school soon. All right. His mum might move wherever she decides to move. All right. Now she moves out somewhere far. We're choosing secondary schools, and she says it's down. And we're going to use Croydon. Yeah. All right. It's down in Croydon. Mm. I live down these sides. I live down in East and North London. How am I now going to get from East and North London to Croydon at 9 o'clock in the morning? I ain't going to be able to do it.
At what juncture do you jump in and say no?
Do I say no to who?
To her. To her. She says she's moving to Croydon or Birmingham.
No, you're not.
It's not my choice. She's not my woman. She's not my woman.
What? Your child? No. Forget your woman. It's your child.
Right. That part I can say no to. But I cannot say to her where she can, because if it can and can't go.
You say no, but she's moving.
She's moving the conversation.
How do you enforce no?
No,
Yes,
the conversation then goes on to a next level. It turns and says, well, what are we doing about our child? And how are we going
And
to
she says our child is going to live in Birmingham.
And fine, how are we now going to co-parent?
We're going to co-parent because I'm going to live in Birmingham, and you can come down there to take him to school if that's what you want.
No. Pause. And the funniest thing is, the worst thing is you're talking about a situation that I have to deal with my own life.
Okay, yeah.
So I can actually tell you some of the things that have gone through my mind. I don't even want her to watch the podcast because I don't want her to know that this is actually a full process. But funny enough, there was a conversation.
It's not you. It's someone else.
No, there was a conversation between the two of us, and one of the conversations was that she turned and said, well, because obviously his life is the way his life is, and she doesn't want to disrupt her child or our child. She turned and said he can either stay with you and I have him on the weekends,
okay,
all right, or alternatively it could be the reverse. Now, when you turn and think about that, I have him 4 days in the week. She has him 4 days, like 4 days. We split it.
8 day week.
We split it.
But it's on my
Buddy maths.
When I say buddy maths, 1 day we split in half, don't we?
Mine can
there
do
you go.
that.
That's
2
not
days
4
to be
days,
fair.
Mine can
2
do that.
2 days we split in half. So 2 days is full mine and 2 days are full hers, but the other 2 that we split because obviously one day I have to pick him up and one day I have to drop him off.
Right.
So that's how it always works out. So it's 4 days that I actually see my child physically and have him in my presence. All right. Now I could turn and say to myself, well, on the Friday I'll pick him up from school on the Friday evening. All right. So at 6 o'clock I'll pick him up. I'll take him for the whole weekend so that we have him for Saturday, Sunday. I'll have a Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, and I'll drop him back to school or have him if it's half term on Monday morning, or take him for the Monday and drop him at 6 o'clock. And that way it's still the same said 4 days that I've now turned 50-50 the whole thing.
What if she says, I'm going to move to Croydon or Birmingham because I'm moving in with my next man? Is that still...
I'm going to throw... Sorry, go on.
Okay.
I'm going to throw a bigger grenade into there.
Okay, go on.
Yeah? You have a child with someone else as well. Your other child is... So your first child... Your first child is now moving to Birmingham. You have another child in London. So you can't... I would expect... You can't practically say, I'm going to move to Birmingham. What do you do?
licks.
You hate Mr. Bum right now, innit? Right now, you hate the Wileycat.
He's trying it. He's trying it.
But it's not facts of life, though.
Let me
you can't do this.
No, hold on. No, hold on. Let me explain what I mean by that. Reality of the situation is you have broken up with your partner, so you are in a single parent household. We're not expecting that people are not going to meet new partners. We're not expecting that you may not then have more children. So if you have now got a child with two parents, with two mothers more like, what are you going to do? Because you can't throw yourself in one area.
I'm going to do it to the mic, innit?
Why you can't do it? Why you can't do it? 'Cause he's African. You can't do it. All right. Sorry.
No.
Because he plays Bashman.
You know what? All the money in my pocket, if you can do it with your left hand.
What's in your pocket? But what it is, but I want to come back to the Tongo point.
Yeah.
When you turn around and said, no, this is quite a relevant point. And he was like, if she's going, she's going. she got a job up there. I'm going.
Okay.
You
So
know,
now,
they give her a new mum died and left the house. She's moving to the house.
she's going. So
Fathers for justice.
But what you're not realising, again, like I said at the very beginning, the funniest thing is, we say all of this, like I said, if this was, and guys that have actually grown up with single mothers in there, you know to yourself that your mum's made a million different sacrifices for you, all right? And as a mother, mothers make so many sacrifices all the time for their children, all right? Now, as a father, why am I now not sitting there saying, well, I'm going to make certain sacrifices for my child?
Okay. I've got you. But on the point that he's making, you now have a new family to look after.
So how are you going to practically make that sacrifice?
Right, so you know what? You're asking. He asked a question. You asked a question. He asked a question. I don't know how many different questions you want me to sit there and
Answer them all.
All right. If you're going to sit there and say slightly on one other thing, and I haven't done it, but certain people, I start thinking that type of thing is a little bit irresponsible to now turn and say to yourself, do you know what? You're going to have multiple different children everywhere, all right, and not be able to turn and say, well, I've got a baby mum there, I've got a baby mum there, I've got a baby mum there.
Did you say irresponsible?
It's slightly irresponsible.
No, but I think
because like
Wait.
No.
Sorry, I've got to pause you again. So let me get this straight. You and whoever broken up, you are no longer together. What you're saying is you're not supposed to have another future or family
I never
or
said that.
anything. But you said have another child with another person.
I never said that
So what
because
do you
you're
mean by
jumping in
that?
all over it.
So what?
Do you know
When
what I mean?
you say
What's your name now? Mr. Not make anyone laugh.
Okay, so what's irresponsible?
When you say irresponsible, what do you mean by irresponsible?
So my point being, going back to
Rain, you're an idiot.
We're going to come around for another approach.
Tower one.
What do you mean by irresponsible? When you're saying that, what do you mean by that? Explain what you mean by that.
I'll explain.
Yeah.
So similar to what Sorelli said earlier on in the podcast, he was sitting there saying, "Do you know what? You learn from your mistakes, innit? I made a mistake. I've done this, or not necessarily a mistake, because I don't want to call it a mistake. But I learned from whatever incidents I had in the past, and I say to myself, I've learned from that. I'm not going to make that same incident happen again. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to try and improve on whatever it is. And if I feel to myself the relationship wasn't good then, all right, or however it was, I should now not put myself in a position where I've got there. Now, however, we've got there. We're man, certain things happen, blah, 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 and all of a sudden, you've got a child there. Like you've said.
All you make
like
is be in a relationship
but
and think, you know what?
you're talking about-
I'm gonna
let's
get
just
married.
start.
I'm gonna get married, and you know what? I'm gonna have a new family.
And
Which is
again,
what I
and it
was
never
saying.
worked. And you're right, and this is what I was about to say. Again, this might be also an option that's happened. Now, if this has happened, now you turn and say to yourself, oh, you know, you've broken up. You then turn and say, what things can I do to make my family whole? Or how can I lead in an example? How can I be influential in my child's life? Because at the end of the day, that child in Birmingham is yours. Child in London is yours. All right.
How can you make it not your fault?
It is your fault. In
Well,
essence,
no.
It is your fault.
What? One is a situation. One is a situation which we're actually discussing. How can you make it not be your fault? Because if you start, well, I don't know what the solution is. If you've got a child in London and there's one in Birmingham, what are you going to do? Someone's going to have to suffer, isn't it?
Not necessarily. Like I said, you're just gonna have to manage your time.
Okay, cool. So a couple. Thank you for. And I know he's got the shield in it, just getting length from every angle. A couple of things you said that you dug yourself in a hole.
Oh.
Firstly, if she's moving, she's moving. Now you can move if you want to move to support your child. I commend that as a father.
If you have
However,
that ability.
if you have the capacity to do it, you can do it. If you don't have the capacity to do it, then I think you need to be fair and review the situation. So, for example, Rain works remotely. Wiley works in a fixed location. Sorelli works in an area, but in a fixed location. If he had to now go and live in Birmingham, can he still do his job effectively I'll expose your business, in Hackney? Can he get down to Hackney every day and do his job effectively as a father? Yes or no? And the thing is, it's not for you to answer, it's for you to think about. It's a yes or no question. Or does Sorelli say to himself, do you know what? I'm going to stay in Hackney Monday to Friday because then I can do my job effectively and earn enough money to support my family because my family need that support. And now I'm going to be in Birmingham around my child for period X when my child needs the most support from me. So it's a decision some dads have to make. And I'll be very honest, I'm defending them dads because when the mum decided to, my ex moved, I didn't even know. I went to the yard, knocked the door. Some white dude opened the door in Y-fronts on Christmas morning. I was like, right, she's changed her style. And my man said, nah, she moved out. I never knew. I didn't know that. I didn't have no control. There was no conversation. Just bow, she's gone. Now, to turn around and say, did that make me a bad dad? I felt like a bad dad because I didn't know what was going on at the time. But did that make me a bad dad? No. Did it scar me as deeply as anything? But did that make me a bad dad? Could I have controlled that situation? Probably by not breaking up in the first place and tolerating whatever it is she felt she wanted to put me through.
No. So I've got to cut you because not breaking up doesn't make you a bad dad.
I'm gonna finish. So if I'm turning around and saying tolerating what was going on in our environment as a family when we were together was one thing, and killing the household versus the other side of saying, well, do you know what? Let's make it work because we're both adults. We can both co-parent. And then she just turned around and decided to go off the hymn sheet. She just decided to just do something off her own back, which I weren't in control of. And I'll be honest, bro, I weren't in control of that. And that brought tears to my eyes daily. Ask Tongo, ask Sorelli, they were there. Ask Wiley, they were there all the time when I was going and picking up my daughters. And I'm like, yeah, boom, they don't live there no more. What do you mean they don't live there no more? I know it sounds mad, let's call her. She changed her phone number, go to her workplace. She left her workplace, go to the school. The school were like, well, we don't know if we can give you that information because the police said da-da-da-da-da. Now, I'm turning around.
Police?
I'm turning around and giving you, this is what happened in my life. Now, I didn't have, for example, the same, not convenience, because that's the wrong word, but connection with my ex as you have with your ex, where you can sit down and have an adult's conversation, even though that's what we agreed. When she saw things that she didn't like or heard things that she didn't like, she decided to change the game. Monopoly's gone, now we're playing Scrabble. That's what it was. So now I'm now trying I'm now trying to keep up. Do you know what I mean? And so to turn around and say, well, do you know what? Dean, where was you in the wrong? I would turn around and say my actions that led to, if I'm going to be raw, her getting pregnant in the first place, or the relationship breaking down when it broke down, that's what I was at fault. That's the part I was in control of.
It even goes further. It goes further back than that, doesn't it? It goes back to the beginning of you even picking
even
that
the
person.
selection criteria
in the first place. So this is why,
and it sounds mad.
No, yeah, it does. But I know what you mean.
And this is what I was talking about when I said your parents having an input and that kind of stuff, because sometimes you need help to see those kind of things that you may not see at that time.
She walks in, and all of a sudden the candles go out. And your grandma turns around and says,
not that one.
Take this one.
Yeah. Not that one.
Yeah.
And you're like, come on, Granny, man.
Yeah, have you not seen those heels?
Yeah.
I disagree. When you're saying that's where you went wrong, I'm sorry, that's not where you went wrong, bruv. Where you went wrong, for me, all right, is when you're turning. I don't care if she sees it or doesn't see it, but I don't care about my relationship with my child's mum. That's got nothing to do with my relationship with my child.
She's got everything to do with the relationship with your child.
No,
because she has to be involved in that process. Your 4-month-old baby isn't going to answer the phone when you're calling.
No, you're right.
Do you get what I mean?
At that point.
So there's a point where it needs to work.
A relationship, and I suppose I'm saying to you a relationship in the sense of I don't care about when you said to me, well, maybe I shouldn't have chosen her, or maybe I shouldn't have, I should have stayed in the relationship. I don't care if you stay in the relationship. My relationship with her, in that essence, I don't care about. What I care about is building up a relationship to say I'm looking after my child. What is the arrangement that I have with my child? Whether I have to do it through the courts, which I luckily haven't, all right, and I'm able to have a conversation with you and say, look, we have a child together, all right. We loved or cared about each other at one point in time, all right. Whether we loved each other, or whether it was just a fling, or whatever situation people have got into, all right. And it's like, all right, this was the situation then, but we are both adults, all right, and we've got a child here. There's a being involved. Now, at the end of the day, I don't want this being, male or female, all right, so my daughter or my son, all right, to be in a situation where they're growing up without a father.
Are you talking to a rational person?
It's the person that you went and...
that's bad.
I know, it's true.
No. It's the phraseology. A non-emotive person is what you mean.
And I agree with that. I agree with that because...
Are you talking to a rational
No. Scarred man.
If they decide to be, I don't care.
Yeah.
You got a new woman now, things are changing. I don't care.
And the thing
you
is,
cheated
that's
on
the reality
me,
of it, innit?
Things are changing.
That's the reality
I don't
of it.
care. You think I'm doing this how my mum said I should blah blah blah. So my brethren told me
The group chat said,
all of a sudden, and
I want a breath of fresh air.
I've got to be honest with you. I'm not turning around and knocking your situation. I've told you this online and offline. I commend the position you're in with my friend, your son's mum. I commend it. However,
not everyone gets that.
Not everyone gets that.
I agree.
And it's about working out. Sorry, Wiley, I know you've been trying to jump in a point. But it's about working out. How do you get to that point as two adults without allowing any of the other BS to get involved in the decision making? Even though you know it's the best for your child, and she probably knows it's the best for the child, but because the feelings are still all up in there, and Rain said... Non-emotive, right? So even though that hat can't come off, it's firm. So because it's firm and it's not coming off, this is what I'm going with. And I don't care. I said this was okay. Now it's not okay. Bro, do you know what? Sorry, Wiley, last point.
Go on.
I've said, I'm coming to pick up my daughter. It's her birthday. I'm going to be there at 7:00. Okay, no problem. I'll turn up at 6:30. Knock the door. no answer. Call the phone, no answer. Look around, her car's not there. 6:30, 7, 7:30, 8. Phone in the phone, looking like a madman now, standing outside this yard, wondering, where's my youth? You knew I was coming at this time, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm pissed off. I've gone home. And then the next day I got a message from my daughter saying, why didn't you come to see me on my birthday? So tell me, then, with this person who I'm now trying to strike a family situation with so we can correctly parent our child or our children, how are you going to turn around and say to me, let me be reasonable with this person and come to a rational solution and stop her from moving to Birmingham?
Do you know what?
I'm gonna allow you to finish, and then Wiley had his hand up.
Do you want me to talk first?
No, go on. Yeah.
Yeah, so to be honest with you, with what you're saying, sometimes, right, and this is where we have to take our emotive hats off, right, and realise to ourselves, let's listen to what their situation is. Because there are human beings at the end of the day, and you need to listen to what their point of view is and see what their reasonings is. Because sometimes, as crazy as this person is, or that person might have been, you've got to sit there and say to yourself, there must be a point that you've got. Amongst your crazy, there must be a reason and a point. Now, I want to hear your reason and I want to hear your point. And see if I can rectify it. And sometimes you do have to bend over backwards and turn and say, you know what, fine, I'll turn up at 10 o'clock. But the baby's going to go to bed at that time, but if that's what you want me to do, then I'll do it. All right, just to make peace. All right, and
you turn up at 10, she got lingerie on.
Bro.
We've done this before. We know what you do.
She got lingerie on. You turn her down. That's it. You're not going to see your child. Bruv, but this, I'm telling you, this isn't, that part ain't my reality, but I'm telling you, this is reality, bro.
Buddy's seen his child.
Okay. She doesn't do it.
Buddy's eating
One for the team, one for the team.
eggs and turkey rashes in the morning.
So why she doesn't give you a reason?
Pardon?
You said you asked for a reason. She doesn't give you a reason.
No, so when you say don't give you a reason, I was coming to you, Relly, and then Wiley, all right? When they don't give you a reason, part of it is probably because you haven't got the communication barrier down to the point where you can actually communicate. Bro, I'm not going to sit there and say that my child's mum's an angel, all right? I have plenty of freaking
That's
stories.
what you shouldn't have said on the podcast.
No, I don't care,
Easy.
all right? But I'm not sitting there saying she's because she want to sit there and say that I'm a saint. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, all right, I have plenty of arguments with her, and she'll sit there and say it. And most people do have plenty of arguments with their child's mum, and likewise with their child's dad. All right, so I'm not sitting there saying, oh yeah, my situation is rosy. You lot should all live in my bubble. All right, that's not the situation, bruv. I got stuff I got to deal with now, and I haven't dealt with it. All right, so at the end of the day, it's still about communication, bruv. So as much as and our communication breaks down regular. All right, I just sit there and say to myself, you know what? I have to come to an understanding for my child. Whatever the understanding might be, and she understands that, we come to an understanding for the child. I don't care what you think of me. I don't care if you don't like
But
me.
what if she doesn't come to a reasonable understanding?
I
No,
think
Mr. Bob.
it's sort of gone.
Sorry, Mr. Bob.
No, it's sort of gone left from it. But one thing that was brought up earlier was about trying to stay in the relationship for the child.
Yeah.
But is that being a good father? Is that making that relationship with your child be a workable one? Because what you're showing your child is that you should stay in something you're not happy with, and if you're not happy in it, you're not gonna actually put that out there and show your child
pick up on it.
that you're happy. Your family will not be happy. So
Stay.
Your child will pick up on it.
I mean, if you go back to the old school families that came from back home and
If you want to break it up when the child's 18.
But they
on the 18th birthday,
would stay,
bounce.
They would stay in a very unhappy marriage, relationship, whatever,
Toxic,
all the way
whatever.
through to the end. And and they think they're protecting the child, but the child is seeing it. So are you actually being
But
right for your child?
seeing it
Wait. I'm
or
sorry.
not seeing it.
I'm sorry, I need to jump in.
Okay, is it to his point?
Yeah, because... So there's a lot that's being said.
No.
Don't sound too sure.
No, the reason why I hesitated is because I wanted to start off on the point of what Buddy said, where yes, there are situations where obviously Citrus gave examples where the person's moved, you can't have proper communication with them and all this kind of stuff. However, Buddy's right. There are sacrifices to be made on your level that if it means you've got to go above and beyond to be that father, which is what to me a father is, you go beyond that extra. Now, yes, there are situations that you just can't control in it. She's now vexed at you because you've got a new gal. she's living in, I'm moving to Birmingham. There's no reason realistically for her to go there. However, she's going to do it because she knows it's going to punish you. So she's doing it now out of spite. There are things you will just have to sacrifice. I'm not telling you to move to Birmingham. You've got a family in London. Your new child is in London. You've got support in London. Your new partner's mum lives down the road. You've got that support network and all these things. It does make sense you move in. However, it does mean that you have to sacrifice things for it. That, for me, is part of a dad. That's part of your role.
So we mentioned this in the very beginning when Buddy asked for his definition, and no one's saying that wasn't the point. What we're saying is, or what I'm saying, not we're, what Dean's saying is, if, and Wiley, I'd like you to raise your point back up, but if it gets to the position where no matter how you're trying to maneuver, no matter how you're trying to
bend over backwards,
get to a position of communication, she's not
legal
having it. She's scorned. Okay. No. She's scorned. She's not having it. You say legal, I say I agree with you. I turn around and also then say, oh wow, I've been told that it's a £12,000 bill and I can just about cover my rent. So how, as a new dad, there's a new dad that's going to watch this. How does that new dad now find his way through this battlefield to get there? I'm not saying he can't, because I know people have done it. But if we're going to turn around and say, is it your fault? We're not saying to give up. But what we're saying is, how do you get there?
So just to kind of, not to go too far, because I know we're spider-legging everywhere. But first of all, it's been responsible from the start. So there are little small details that a lot of us miss because we weren't educated or we didn't realize. Having your name on the birth certificate of a child is a very big deal. A lot of people don't realize that. Because as soon as your name...
you said earlier, you can't
can I
lawyer on what you don't know, right?
Can I...
I'm just coming at you with
I'm
something.
responding to Citrus's thing. There are people out there...
Trying to learn. Coming around for a second approach. Second approach.
Thank you.
Sierra Hotel Oscar.
The wind is coming from the north. But anyway...
Tango Alpha.
Having your name on a birth certificate. So at one point, you lot were blessed. I'm hoping you lot were blessed enough until the child was born that you actually attended and had your name on the birth certificate. If your name is on the birth certificate, you now have equal rights as a father as the mum does.
Is that true?
That is true. You can Google it. Yeah. You can Google it.
No. I know that.
So there are things.
Wait, one second. The law still favours the mum.
You're absolutely right.
So having the rights is one thing. The law will favour the maternal part.
That's why I was like,
yes. So legally you have the rights.
One second. So there is also, and you're saying right. You're talking about parental responsibility.
Yes.
However, parental responsibility and the rights over the child,
it's not the same.
Do not sit in the same bracket.
You're absolutely right.
They're not even governed by the same laws.
But it now gives you the ability to now take this to that point and say,
which is fine. I'm not saying is there's any issue with that. But you said legal, right? You was like legal. So I'm like, okay, legal. So let's do this. Let's go down to the Citizens Advice Bureau. They say, yeah, cool. I can give you an appointment in 8 weeks. Oh wait. So what do I do in those 8 weeks?
Sacrifice.
Well,
go to a solicitor.
You're not gonna sacrifice what, Ray? When you work in Sainsbury's,
you got to pay.
Wait 1 second. Tesco's? No, Sainsbury's Wood Green.
Sainsbury's.
You work in Sainsbury's in Wood Green. You've got 8-month-old. No financial support from any of your family. It's just you and your demon ex, who's now saying you can't see your child. Full stop.
Yep.
You said, all right, cool. I'm going legal. Citizen Advice has said we can help you 8 weeks. You've gone to a solicitor. They said we can take your case on £8,000.
Yep.
What happens?
£500 for this conversation.
£500 for this conversation. This is true.
Are you talking me personally?
I'm just saying in that situation, in the picture I painted.
Yes, in the picture they painted, maybe another man would think, shit, I'm defeated. Me, I'm doing pizza go deliveries. I'm working at Amazon. I'm doing everything to get that money because my child is paramount.
Cool. All right. So you get that money, and then they say, can you come down to the office? So the telephone conversation's gone well. Thank you. We've opened up a case for you. Brilliant. We've lodged it with a court. Even better. We need to come and do representation. Can you come down? That's going to cost you another £2,000. Now the point I'm trying to make is not to not do it. I'm just turning around and saying for a lot of people
It's
I
not-
grew up
yeah,
with,
yeah.
to get to that position, it's like, shit, I don't know how to do it. I haven't seen the path that we spoke about earlier. I don't have the support network. Do you know what I mean?
And I don't have the capital.
And I don't have access to the capital as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do. And with that, I'm not turning around and trying to deter anyone to follow whatever they because if you want to see your child in
You will
this
see your
country,
child.
you will see your child.
Knowledge is power.
However, there are people who, and obviously our generation, enough man them didn't know that. Think of our generation, the
you're
people
right.
we went to school with.
I didn't know it when I was at that time. I didn't.
didn't have a clue.
Gracefully, I didn't have that problem as well. But if I did, I'm the person. If I'm buying a car, I will spend
Back of the
3
car.
months.
Everything's cars.
No. I'm
Everything's
just
car,
saying.
bruv.
I will spend 3 months researching it. That I want this particular model, this particular size, this spec.
And this
Why
breast,
am I not
these breasts.
investing this kind of time
I want to have
into
them
my child?
breasts.
Do you understand what I mean? I'm just saying that if something is that important into you,
do it.
you will make the time and you will do what you need to do to get it done.
Really, Cam. No one is saying that it's not. And there, but bro, we've seen famous people break down because of the lack of accessibility to their child.
And they have all the money to go to the court and do all that
And
stuff.
we're turning around and saying, well, 1 second, how'd you do it?
Where they're black.
Yeah, the two I'm thinking of are. But I'm saying, but how'd you do it? What website? You said Fathers for Justice earlier, which,
For- yeah.
For example.
which I get. But how do you do it? How do I? Yeah. So my ex turned around and said to me, "Yeah, you can have him every other weekend." I go there on the weekend. She's like, "Well, not this weekend because my mum decided to take him shopping, so we're not at home." You're standing there with a balloon and a red bike. You're now feeling a bit deflated. You don't know what to do. You go home pissed off. Call up buddy, yo buddy. Guess what? Went to the house. Her mum took the effing all of this is going on.
Becky's hair.
Let's go clubbing.
I'll call you later.
Becky's hair. Yeah. But so
Let's go clubbing.
So at this point, you then go back tomorrow, for example. Oh, you weren't there yesterday, so today, blah, 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 blah. Do you get what I mean? So when you start putting all of these, and I'm just trying to paint you guys a picture, by numbers by colours as well. Yeah.
Colours by numbers.
Same thing. But I'm turning around and painting you a picture to turn around and say, some of this I'm telling you because I've experienced it.
No, I get what you
some
mean.
I've witnessed it. Some I'm seeing it right now. Like today, like we can as soon as you press stop, someone's gonna say, "Yo, bruv, you're talking about me, innit?" I'm telling you about a real situation right now. And I can't turn around and say, "Yo, find that 5 bags to go to that great solicitor that helped my brethren out." But 1 second, my brethren works in Cafe Nero. He works for HR. He's in the HR department. He's got guapo to lava all over the place. He don't mind. He can do that.
Some people don't. Yeah.
But you're a bus driver, bro, and you earn good money. However, your expenditure equals your income. So you don't have, sorry, bud, but you don't have the same flexibility. So what I'm trying to turn around and say is not to give, because it sounds like I'm giving all of the guys a way out, showing them the direction to go in. But what I'm saying is, until we can turn around and say, listen, gents, if you're in this situation and you're disconnected from your child or your children and your relationship has broken down with your ex and you really want to know how to move forward, that's what I would like to get out of this podcast for whoever's listening.
So we got
Over to Bud.
We got roughly, if I can squeeze it, probably about 9 minutes. Looking at.
Hey,
Oh, no, he said...
Looking at the producer trying to squeeze.
Producer said you're a bad dad.
Because I turned up late. I'm trying to break because we got a little bit that we can. I wanted to try and get through.
backflipped.
Manly punched me in my face. But one of the things I wanted to go through, this is single fathers, is it your fault? Is it our fault, should I say? And I look at it and I think to myself, it still feels like we're missing certain things where there are fathers out there that don't want to be a part of their child's life.
Yes, absolutely.
They've slept with this girl. I didn't even want the child anyway, so I'm just going to be about my business. I don't care. Do you know, I'm a man.
I told you to get rid.
Yeah, I told you to get rid.
You kept it. Your choice.
So you deal with it. And you know what? Funny enough, my name ain't Jamie anyway.
Oh.
My name's something else.
Ross.
Because now
It's Becky.
I'm trying to fling. I'm not taking responsibility. I haven't got my papers.
I'm not even turning up for the birth certificate.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
What birth certificate? I'm not turned for the birth. How do you even know it's mine?
I never said to me, this is mine.
How do you know it's mine?
Brother, and all these things we're saying as jokes, I swear
Says
to you,
yeah,
it all happened.
yeah. When it come out the womb, how do you know it's mine?
Yeah, wait a minute.
Names, places, and times, bro.
But these are...
How do you know it's mine?
Even in saying this,
Looks a spitting image of you, though.
in saying this, what
name's the tooth. The tooth. How do you know it's mine? Let's go.
What do we do with these situations? What do we? I mean, what do the women do with these situations? Do they sit there and beg and plead for them to come and look after their child? Because it takes a massive hit on society, because those are the same people, and we are the same people that are sitting there seeing kids go out there and cause violence, killings, robberies, and so on and so forth. And we sit there and go, oh, where's their...
But it doesn't even need to be that extreme, you know. Just those that are lost.
Yeah.
Just young people who are just lost.
And
Do
their
you know-
dads are out there saying, Jah will provide.
The bottom line is that the dads, you've already touched on it. The dads have already said they don't have an interest. So
Yeah.
what can the mothers do? The mothers can't do anything. If the dads have said they don't have an interest, even if they're obliged by the courts, oh, you got to pay money. Okay, they're paying money. But if they don't have an interest, they
Bro,
don't have an interest.
I have a relative who quit his job because the judge gave a court order
To pay a
for him to pay child support. So he was like, what? So she can take my money? Quit his job and went on benefits. When I spoke to him, do you know when the level of anger, I couldn't even contain it. So he was like, I ain't giving her no money for her to spend on her hair and her nails. I said, brother,
We did this before this podcast.
this is crazy.
You know what? They should imprison you for things like that, you know?
But was he?
I'm not-
But was he wanting to be? Was he wanting to be the father of the child, or was it that he was like, you know what, I don't care for the child?
He wanted to be the father under his very specific
Conditions.
conditions and terms. Thank
And
you.
that's that
And that is what broke
Right.
everything else down.
and that's the kind of the post that was posted up on the MT podcast Instagram, where it was like, you're not dropping him to me, I'm not going to see him then, which is mad. Or I give you £20 a week. That's it, or £20
was
a
a
month.
month.
£20 a month.
A
That's
month,
it.
you know.
Buy trainers.
Yeah, buy trainers from that money.
That's mad. But you know what it is? I think that,
But sorry, Rain, just even with that post, buys trainers from that money, that's what the law says.
yeah, the law gives. Yeah,
So
And
when
then
you
the dad
turn
is
around-
flossing.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It don't matter.
If they decide,
If
you
the
gotta
child support people them turn
say
around and do their
Say,
calculation
yeah, it's
and
£5
say,
a month.
buddy has to give
£5
£5 a month, then whatever you need to do, make it work from the £5. Do you know what I mean?
And it's that low.
You can't come up here,
As jokes as it is,
can't
that
go
low.
to the father and say, well, that's not enough. You went to the CMS. CMS made the decision. You have to go by the decision now. That's what they said. I don't have to do nothing else.
Yeah, but I've said this in the previous podcast. For me personally, if you as a competent, educated adult looks at your child and says, the court says you only need £5 a week, so therefore I'm only going to give you £5 a week, but then I go out and spend £150 on a bottle of Moe at a club, and I'm doing that every weekend, you're failing as a dad.
I didn't want a child anyway.
Doesn't matter.
I didn't want. It's not my.
Doesn't matter.
You say that.
I didn't want a
now.
parking ticket. I still have to pay it.
But I didn't want it. So now you can take what you get is the CSA
Yeah, but
money.
he does pay it. So you can't say he's
No,
still paying.
Yeah, but
you get your
you pay
CSA
the
money.
Baby
You're not getting nothing
parking
else.
ticket.
£20.
You pay whatever it is. That's what they say.
I didn't
You're
want it
failing as a dad.
So
I'm
you
not
need
a dad.
more money for
It doesn't
parking
I don't
matter.
see
It
it.
doesn't matter if you didn't want the child or not.
I'm not a dad.
You must in there and breeded her.
We're talking about, yeah, but in the same way he said, I didn't want a parking ticket, you still have to pay it. He didn't want the baby, he still pays for it. He's not going to pay, why does he, you don't pay more for the parking ticket, are you?
It goes back to my point of if the father doesn't want to be the father, you cannot enforce him to be the father. That's it.
And maybe that's where the law's geared up to, where you can pay your £20 or your £5 a week or £20 a month if you don't want to be the father, and that's what you're suggesting, it's saying, right, well, you need to do a little bit, and this £20 is something which is not right. It's not. It's definitely not enough.
That's only the case if
Because child benefits, universal credit, plus whatever you're earning, mum, is enough to look after your child.
Exactly.
And he doesn't have the financial capability to do any more. So the £5 that he gives, plus all of the benefits that the system has given you, we deem it enough.
But the thing is, that then doesn't compensate for quality time. Because I'm giving you that £20, but I'm now not...
Really?
Yeah, courts don't business.
Really don't care about quality time.
They don't business
Really?
there.
Do you drive the car you want or the car you can afford?
A bit of both.
Do you drive the car that you want or the car that you can afford?
Car you can afford.
Car you can afford, innit?
That's a fact.
It's a fact.
You'd have an 8 Series. We spoke.
If you could drive the car you
I can
want,
afford the 8 Series.
if you
Don't
can
shortchange
drive
me,
the
bro.
car you want versus the car you can afford, you would drive the car you want. All of us are sitting around saying, no, leave me in my bun down, Tim Panting. No, thank you very much. I'll get it. I'm getting a white Tesla. This is what I want. So that's what I'm going to get. This is just me. I'm only speaking for myself.
Right.
But essentially, if it came down to it and it said just have a car, I don't want that car. But this is your car now. I don't want that car. But this is your car. So now you got to road tax it, you got to MOT it, you got to pay insurance. I don't want the car. Well, it's yours. So you're stuck with it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm not
But
turning
you
around and
went
saying,
out and bought this car.
do you know what? I wasn't even conscious when I spent the money.
Needs must.
Do you know when you break things down to cars and all of a sudden Suri's like, I understand. This all makes sense now. But
Brother, you can laugh at it as much as you want. But as far as I'm concerned, if you have impregnated a woman, no matter what analogy you want to use, it is your responsibility. If you go and do it and you are lick at the time, I don't care. It's still your responsibility. No matter what you say, you're at fault. It takes two people to lie down at the same time and to impregnate the woman. So now to come back and say, you know what? I wasn't even willing. I was drunk. I was high.
It only takes one person to impregnate a woman.
All of that. Now you're just being stupid and semantic. But it doesn't change the fact that there's now a human being that is now looking at you saying, Daddy.
Yo, but I know we need to look at the time. There's just one thing I want to say on Sorelli's point.
I don't look at the time.
Maury,
Let me tell you two more.
you are not the father. But anyway, go on, buddy.
What you don't know who his father is? Who the father is?
Brother, if you're putting yourself in a situation where you're now debating if the child is yours or not, then that's your business.
Lads.
That's
Before Jay decides to turn
Turn it off, innit?
Yeah, bro.
blows up.
Stand up already. We're just talking.
We're just talking now.
He gonna flick the switch.
Well, so again, I apologise for being late because if I wasn't late, if I didn't have the misdemeanor, then all of a sudden we could have been able to be a little bit longer in it. So thank you, Jay, for letting us go on for this long. So really, I'm gonna let you get your point off. Then we're gonna go to Wiley. Then we're gonna go to Rain. Then Tongo. Then Citrus. Then I'll close the show. But yeah, so don't let me interrupt. Here we go. Sorelli.
All right, so ever so slightly broken, yeah? And I'm admitting this is probably coming from a broken point of view. As far as I'm concerned, every child that I've put on this planet or has been brought to this planet because I had something to do with it, it is my responsibility to look after that person. If the government or the law says I only need to give 10%, but I can afford to give 25%, then I will give 25%. Because as far as I'm concerned, I put myself in their shoe, that I would have wanted that to be done to me from my dad. And everything that I didn't get from my dad that I wish I did, and I'm in a position to now give that to my child, I will do that. My job as a father is to make your life easier than it is, and to prepare you for the world that you are now going into, with or without me being there. If I die young, whatever the case may be, I need to equip you with enough to allow you to live a fulfilling life. I don't believe that there's this thing of, well, you know what, it's not my fault, it is always your fault, because there is always something you can do. Yes, there are very difficult situations where you encounter people in life that have a different view to you, and the two of you can't see eye to eye. At that point, it's for you to sacrifice. I can't tell you what the level of sacrifice needs to be. That's for you to work out, and it's for you to understand and make that decision on, I will stick it out for 5 years. I will stick it out for a year. I won't stick it out at all. However, I will do whatever I need to do to be a father to this child. But at the end of the day, this child is your responsibility. As a father, step up and do your dues.
Wiley, boom.
Single fathers, is it your fault? I think I would say, yeah, it is. I would say that it's also the fault of single mothers. Everybody has their part to play in a breakup, because ultimately we're talking about the breakup of a relationship and then what happens with the parenting. Now, when it comes to that, you can have your own fault. You can have your percentage of the fault in it. So I think everybody would have a part to play in it. It's more important what you do in that circumstance where you now are a father. And I think the most important thing, the most important person, should I say, in this circumstance is going to be the child. To touch on something Citra said earlier, you have to have a relationship with the co-parent, whether it be the father or whether it be the mother. You have to have a relationship with them, because ultimately your situation isn't the most important thing here. It's what's going to happen with that child. And unfortunately, in a broken down relationship, people can get petty, people can get upset, people can get emotional. And then they can play emotional games with people to play on the child and use the child as a pawn in that. The most important thing you can do as a single father, so to speak, is to make sure that you show that child you are there for them, and you don't get drawn into the game playing. You don't get drawn into the whole battle of I love you more and all the games that happen with it. It's going to be very difficult to do when a relationship breaks down anyway, talking with a child involved in it, and all you can do is your best. And ultimately, you can only do what you can to make that child feel as loved and as happy as possible. So that would mean if you feel it's your fault, and if you don't feel it's your fault, you have to take that on board and do what you can. Whether you're right, whether you're wrong, doesn't really matter. The child is what matters. So that's my closing statement on it.
Right, my closing thing is, right, there's a song, yeah, by a guy called Tory Carter. It's called It Takes Two. In that song is my answer to, or my synopsis. Whoever can understand what I'm saying and can link it back, the eMpTy podcast will give them £50. Tongo.
For me, I'm torn. The reason why, when we did the mother's podcast about the mother is your fault, we established it was the mother's fault. Now we're doing the single fathers, and it's the fathers. You can see where it's the father's fault. So to say, yes, it's the father's fault, or yes, it's the mother's fault, I don't think you can. I think you can say it's both of their fault. As we've been saying for the whole podcast, it takes two. So each has their part to play.
I just said that.
Shut up. Each has their part to play.
Go.
We're trying to wrap up here.
Sorry,
We ain't got much time for these jokes now. So
Jokes.
So each has their part to play, and you can never come with a determined, it's specifically solely the man's fault, specifically solely the woman's fault. But you got to try and unite and come together and do what's best for the child together. That's it. Oh yeah, and happy Independence Day to the Solution Man them and gal them.
Oh.
I like this podcast. Thank you, buddy.
Bro.
There are, obviously, I know there's a lot of points that we didn't cover, but a few things that do come to mind is the results of whoever's fault it is. And the results is normally child or children. And I don't have the same dad as my sisters. And we all felt growing up that we were loved and appreciated and blessed by our mum. It's only when society turned around and gave me a different standard of life that I realised, well, a different perception of the standard that I realised, well, one second, there were things that we missed out on and things that didn't happen because we didn't necessarily have the other person being our fathers in our lives. So for myself, I didn't want that to happen. And I believed, and still believe up to today, that if you give what you want, you get out what you need. It may not necessarily live in the world of kumbaya, but as long as we try and lead with that, then that's what we should get out. There are so many mums who are probably listening to this, probably turned it off to be fair, but who listen to this podcast, and I hope that they get an understanding and some reasoning of why men, dads may think the way we think. But what I'm thinking is, when it comes to me and my situation and me as a father, there is... You're at Tongo. It feels like sitting next to a puppet and no one's doing the voice. There's pure movement. But as being a father, it's being a father. It's being able to turn around and say, for the fathers that are out there, new fathers coming through, experienced fathers that are absent from their children and accepting fault, or even not accepting fault, but want to be a part of their child's life, there are avenues that we can look into that I suppose can help us make that connection and reattach. Big shout goes out to one of my close friends. He is now attached with his daughter, who is 24.
Wow.
And he met her last year.
Martin.
Nice. Wow. So I'm gonna say my closure, and then Wiley, I'm gonna give it to you to just close the show. Just give a shout out to all the people that was online, and then close the show. So my synopsis on this is basically single fathers. Is it our fault? And like you said, we've done one on single mothers. Is it their fault? It's both parents' fault. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, there are certain circumstances, all right, where man don't take responsibility for some of their actions. Do you know what I mean? You've done this. We now need to work as a team to make this happen and make this work. Do you know what I mean? Don't just sit there and say, well, she should have just got rid. Because abortions and things like that are very simple and a very manly way to say, yeah, just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. It's fine. And we could just move on. And I didn't tell you to have the child. Do you know what I mean? That's one way of people dealing with it. And it's not the right way to deal with it. Do you know what I mean? And it's a very manly way. So it's your fault. Deal with it. Do you know what I mean? If at the end of the day, there's sacrifices, like I said earlier on, that mothers make all the time. And I come from a single mother household, and it's like, my mum made sacrifices. I know she did. As an adult now, I know she did. I saw it now, and I'm like, rah, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. There was times you didn't do this and didn't do that, and I'm like, rah, freaking hell. Like, as a man, I pick up myself and I go out, I do this, I do that. I can do this, I can do that. I didn't have 4 kids to go and look after, plus nephews and nieces and whatever else that she looked after. And I'm like, rah, you made a lot of sacrifices. Man, them don't do that. So when we're sitting there saying to ourselves, would you travel across here and would you travel across there for your child? You make certain sacrifices because you have to. Do you know what I mean? It's your child. Do you know what I mean? They don't sound nice. Sacrifices aren't nice. Sacrifices are never something that's going to turn and say, oh, this is going to be a great adventure for you. A sacrifice is a sacrifice. It hurts. It's going to be difficult. Do you know what I mean? I make them now myself. We some of us in this room have to make them all the time. Do you know what I mean? And I think to myself, we got to understand that. So yeah, even when you said, now you've got 2 different baby mums in 2 different places, what sacrifices are you going to do to make that work? Whatever the sacrifices need to make my child happy and to make my child have a proper upbringing, because there are so many children that are brought up incorrectly, and then like the video that we had on the Instagram earlier on with the child getting beaten, the mum's got to turn and do this all on her own. And it's like, do you know what I mean? She thinks that's the right way to do it. It might not be the right way to do it, but that's the way that she understands that I can strike fear into him. Whereas a lot of us men are around, we probably don't beat our children. We'll probably just turn and give a stern talking to or speak to them, and they understand. They understand because we're the father, and that's something that they've got within them. Say, you know what? I understand. I'm going to listen to my dad. Now, being a good dad comes from so many different verses and so many different things that I could sit there and say, and I'm not going to go into it now because it's the ending of it, and we've gone on for way too long. But thank you everybody for being on the podcast. I'm going to pass it over to Wiley so he can sit there and close the show properly. So Wiley, boom.
Sorry, just before he does that, sorry. Advice for fathers that may need somewhere to go. Brain mentioned Fathers for Justice earlier, and also there's Father to Fathers that you can look up for as well. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you for that, Tongo. Shouts out to Glamzino, Bun Highly Blessed Joseph, Dee Boomlash, Maria Falevi. I'm just picking up a few names. I'm not going to go through all the people that was logged on. There was a lot of people logged on the chat. Don't forget, we are back here. Thursday, 7th of March, we are back for another live episode. Make sure you join in on that one. That is going to be about the stresses of life. And we're going to be talking about all manner of things to do with the stresses of life. So make sure you join the eMpTy podcast on that. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the eMpTy podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page, the eMpTy podcast. And don't forget, we also have the WhatsApp group where we talk about everything. We continue the conversation after the podcast on the WhatsApp group as well. So, it's been a lively episode this week. Very, very lively. Been lots of things we've spoken about. But thank you to everyone who's been taking part. Thank you to those of you on the panel as well, the eMpTy podcast. And don't forget, if the glass ain't half full,
It's empty.
Thank you very much. Join us on the 7th of March. Thank you.
Yeah, but you're wrong, bro. Seriously.
For what?
You're wrong, bro.